way back off the county line where the sycamores lean and high. Jen and Glen keep a heart small flame in a shack with a weather sign. They know the names folks don't say when the beer goes cold and the room goes still. Thornbridge comes up in the dark, even bad men feel the chill. They hear that word and lose their grin. Thornbridge is coming to dig it in. The lies get thin, the nights run short. Every crooked deed heads for court. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, they know your trail. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, truth don't fail. Jen and Glen, bring the light in. Buffalo strong, you can't outrun it. There's a buffalo badge on the door, paint chipped on the soil bowl, like a warning to the wicked ones that the hills keep score. Old trucks roll by in the rain with their radios turned way down low, 'cause once the Thornbridge name gets spread, folks start letting secrets go. They hear that word and lose their grin. Thornbridge is coming to dig it in. The lies get thin, the nights run short. Every crooked deed heads for court. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, they know your trail. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, truth don't fail. Jen and Glen, bring the light in. Buffalo strong, you can't outrun it. Under moonlit oaks and red clay ground, the hidden things come shaking out. Every locked up drawer, every buried sin gets a little louder now. And when the holler calls her name, the brave turn pale, the liars shake. 'Cause Jen and Glen don't miss a step when the whole truth starts to break. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, they know your trail. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, truth don't fail. Jen and Glen, bring the light in. Buffalo strong, you can't outrun it. If you done wrong in those Ozark hills, better pray the night stays wide. 'Cause Thornbridge walks with steady feet, and the truth don't stay inside.
It turns out there is a group, and you may have heard of this group before. It is a group of mothers, and they do regular searches for missing persons south of the border. The group is called the Buscando Corazones Nogales group, and they have had huge successes in the past, to the tune of finding 25 different unmarked graves in just one area. And wouldn't you know it, they are the ones who got a tip. I think you're probably going to scream into your pillow when you hear the comment from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. But this particular group got a tip, and it was specific. They haven't released everything, but they said there were enough specifics in the tip to suggest that Nancy Guthrie is buried in an area southwest of Nogales, in an area called Mariposa, and that is a butterfly in English. And the group went and began searching and didn't go alone. They got a lot of help. They got help from the government. So this is bigger than just some random group heard something from someone and went to sniff around. It was a lot more than that. They, in fact, got help from the Sonora State Commission for the Search of Missing Persons, and they also got municipal and state officials backing them up with security. They have found upwards of 25 unmarked graves, but it just didn't seem like there was much communication between the two countries. And that seems to be the case again, because here's the comment from Pima County, from the Sheriff's Department. They didn't even know about it. That's where we're at. They didn't even know about it. This is the comment that the Pima County Sheriff posted publicly on the X account. We're aware of reports regarding an anonymous tip related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation that was provided to a group in Mexico. At this time, we have not been contacted by Mexican authorities. Where's the next line saying, but we reached out to Mexican authorities? That's not in here. There's no mention of that. I don't even think it's happened. I don't know if it's happened, but they certainly haven't mentioned that that happened. They just said they didn't call us, so here's a post on X. This investigation remains active and ongoing, and we will continue to follow up on any credible information. But how about following up on something that the Mexican government thinks is important enough to support?
Back.
Happy Saturday night. I'm Jennifer. This is Glen, my husband, and this is the TBX studio, and you're on TBX Unfiltered. Tonight from the Ozarks, we're going to go live. We're going to be talking about the Tucson tips and a possible suspect, the Tucson connection, with it possibly leading to Mexico. And we have a special guest appearance by Bill Garcia, a private investigator that's been looking into the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie in hopes of finding her and bringing her back to her family. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. I can't believe it's Saturday already. I don't know where the week went. So thank you so much for joining us. And Glenn and I hope that you'll tell us where you're from. We already heard in the chat a little bit. Let's see, we've got Chicago in the house, Florida, Tucson, High Criminal Network. Oh my gosh, we got Joan. I've seen some familiar faces in here, or I say faces, some names. Oh, okay. We have Canada. We have a couple Canada, North Carolina. Oh my gosh. One of our friends is in North Carolina right now. That's awesome.
And
Yeah.
we had a check-in
Oh,
from Hawaii.
Durban, South Africa. Wow. Thank you so much for joining us. I have a very good friend in South Africa.
That's cool.
So that is so cool. Thank you so much. You had somebody check in from Hawaii, you said?
Yeah, in the chat earlier.
Oh, that's awesome. Missouri, Germany. Wow.
Man, that's
Dankeschön.
getting way over there now.
That's all I know.
Hey,
is German.
Courtney. Courtney just checked in. Land
Oh,
of the
hi,
lizard
Courtney.
people.
Montana. I used to live in Billings. Shout out Montana, Oregon, the Hoosier State, Pennsylvania. I have family there. Arkansas. We can wave to you. We're super close in the
I
Ozarks.
think I see you.
Australia. I have 2 cousins in Australia. That is so awesome. Ohio, South Dakota, Camden, South Carolina, Huntington, Virginia, West Virginia, New Mexico. Wow. That is so awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us. We can't thank you enough. I know that we keep talking about the Nancy Guthrie case, but it seems like we get emails when we get off of our broadcast. We get emails every day. I think I started adding it up. I've been spending anywhere from 4 to 5 hours a day, you guys, answering emails, and I can't thank you enough for all the amazing tips, comments, suggestions, things to look into.
Lake George.
Um,
Right. Deal.
You guys are amazing. We can't thank you enough for all the support. Another South African. That's so, or South African, I think is how my friend said we're supposed to say it.
TBX
Florida.
Global. Alex.
Yeah, TBX Global. Oh,
Very
thank you for the
funny.
jewels. So tonight we'll just go ahead and get into it. Me and someone who wants to remain anonymous. She has been a TBX supporter from the start, and she's been an amazing researcher. She contacted me and said if you need some help researching, that she would like to become part of the team. So I had some private information that was given to me through someone else that wants to remain anonymous, and gave me a lot of background information on some of the people that I thought might be pertinent in the case.
Mhm.
And the person that was helping me do some research, I gave her a couple names to look into, see if she saw anything that, I told her some things that I thought might lead to something. She ended up finding a very interesting thread. And then between the two of us over the last 3 weeks, have come up with a thread that goes all the way from Arizona down into Mexico, specifically Phoenix, Tucson, and into Mexico. And I don't think it's what we thought. And what was really interesting is some recent activity in Tucson also kind of brought to light some of that activity that we thought we were pretty much on the right track with a potential suspect in the case. And that one ended up kind of solidifying some of it. So tonight, with a little bit of mystery to it, just because of legal reasons, I've been advised to not name names, besides the one that is for sure incarcerated right now, not to do with the Nancy Guthrie case, but has been a name that has come up. But even that, I'm just going to do initials. But I want to show you this, and I want to see what you think.
So you want the
Yes.
family tree.
So I'm calling this the family tree of criminals, and it's very interesting. So what I wondered about I would say not from the beginning, because I think from the beginning I thought that it was one porch person. Thank you for the jewels. We really appreciate that. I really thought it was one porch person. Now I'm starting to think that the reason we didn't get timestamps, the reason that we did not get even noise sound that goes with the camera recordings, the reason that a lot of us have felt like when we zoom in on the photos that certain things seem blurred, certain faces seem like even the mask scene from January 11th seems to be blurred. I really think that I think there's been editing from the FBI. I think I can pretty confidently say that there's been piecemealing of video and photography that's been done. I'm not for sure on that. That is my strong instinct on it. So I think there is more than one porch guy. I think that there is at least 2. And I think one of them was a person that was detained and released. But it's a potential person on my list. Thank you so much for the jewels. And right now, what you're looking at is I'm saying porch guys. And if we look at these 2 photos, and I think a lot of people have been talking about that over the last couple days. I know that Patriot Pride has talked about it. I think that Sleuth Intuition has talked about it. I think even Alex Criminal Network has talked about it. There's been a lot of podcasters going, wait a minute, I think maybe there's some interesting things that we need to look at, especially since some recent activity in Tucson has happened and some faces that look slightly similar to possibly Porch Guy. So, what I found in our research and wasn't able to completely connect it until probably, like I said, we've been working on this for the last 3 weeks. And what we found was there is a very, very deep connection to biker clubs. Some people in the Tucson law enforcement like to call these particular ones that I have showing to be biker gangs. But I know that they're just known as biker clubs. And that doesn't mean that there's always activity with them, but the history for these clubs that I'm showing right now go pretty far back. We're talking a lot of them got started in the 70s. 1974 was a little more specific, but one of them, two of them work hand in hand together. And the third one that I'm showing, which is the Mexican Mafia, is one that has a very strong alliance with the Aryan Brotherhood. And this is documented, well documented through the Arizona law enforcement. It's documented on all over online. You can research into it. And these are usually the symbols that you will find with those particular groups. And what's very interesting about the research that I was able to uncover, as well as my assistant, is that they don't turn each other in. In fact, if they turn each other in, there's usually another homicide involved. So the other thing that was very interesting is all of this is very heavily linked to drug trafficking through Mexico. And the two particular groups, Hells Angels and the Aryan Brotherhood, absolutely have strong drug ties with methamphetamines, other drugs that are coming in through Mexico, and they don't expect each other to give each other income from one's trafficking versus the other, but they do have an alliance with each other as far as keeping people in check. One that came up was the Mongols, and the Mongols was actually linked to a M last name in the Nancy Guthrie case that was brought up. And I couldn't find a connection, which is why I have the X on it. That family does have a connection to the Mongols biker club, which goes straight into Mexico, but they don't seem to be something that is connected in this case that I can find. There just doesn't seem to be a long connection. Now, the one KD, I did find out a little more information on, and I think I kind of shared it the other day, but I've been sharing it over the last couple weeks. The information I have on her is that she is in the Perryville prison up in Phoenix area in Maricopa County, and she is, in particular, she is on lockdown. She is not allowed, and I'm sorry that I don't know the particular terms. It's been told to me a couple times, and I don't know why my brain doesn't register it, but it just doesn't. Anyway, she is not allowed to associate with other inmates, and she is not allowed to receive visitors. And we had a person that contacted the prison system to ask for a visit with her because he is a professional in a field that normally is allowed to see inmates of this caliber. And they were told no, they have to be an attorney, have an attorney that is backing them and essentially gives them clout in this, and it has to be associated with a specific case number, which I thought was very interesting. So somebody is saying it's protective custody. Well, they're not calling it protective custody. They're saying that they are isolated and they are not allowed to receive visitors. What's interesting about this individual is that all charges were dropped except for one, and it was a drug charge. This individual has been let out multiple times over similar charges. It's never been an issue in the past. And this person decided to plead guilty to this drug charge. This person also asked for her case to be sealed. This person apparently was granted that. So that leads me to a lot more questions than I have in answers. And like I said, the person that went to go see her was a professional. That person is allowed normally and has been into very large prison systems and has been able to see criminals that have quite a history. It's never been a problem in the past. And it took about 2 days before this person got a response. And like I said, the response from the prison system was what they would have to have an attorney that would represent them, that they were represented with, and would have to be pertaining to a specific case number. So that to me was very interesting. This person is directly related through, I would say, a familial relationship to a to the Hells Angels, and I blurred out everybody else's pictures. That's one of his pictures, but I chose to blur out the up close one. A lot of things are not necessarily because I can't say names. It's I've been advised for legal reasons not to be talking about the names directly, but I've also been advised that this goes pretty deep and these people are pretty dangerous. So the Hells Angels and this person in particular, also with the Aryan Brotherhood and the Mexican Mafia, have a history of putting out I should say, completing contract hits. And these contract hits are sometimes within the club for club members that are in bad standing or people that have gone against the club or for hire. So I found that extremely interesting, especially since I can link several of these people to other people within the case.
Hmm. I'm still stuck on there's more than one porch guy. I don't. What?
I think a lot of people have been talking about it. I'm just not comfortable saying the name, but I don't. I've seen already people have said it in the chat. I Mongol is another biker club. Somebody said, "What's a Mongol?" A Mongol is named after the Mongolian horde out of China, but it's a club that came out of, I believe, it originated in California. But they are also out of Mexico and South Tucson. There's a lot of them, even in Arizona in general. But it was connected to one of the individuals that was potentially linked to the Nancy Guthrie case. But that doesn't seem to be a connection that I can thread all the way through. So I'm sticking with the 3 clubs that I mentioned, which is Hells Angels, the Aryan Brotherhood, and the Mexican Mafia. And the Mexican Mafia, that is their symbol. It's 2 M's, and the M's have 2 swords that come off of them. And these clubs, the 3 of them have formed somewhat of an alliance, specifically the Aryan Brotherhood with the Mexican Mafia. And these groups, 1.25 million to turn in somebody. Let's just say hiker clubs for all of our safety.
That's
Yes,
probably a
that's
good
probably
idea.
a good idea. Thank you, Alex. So these hiker clubs have formed a specific alliance together and have been known to carry out organized or contract hits. And it's been I'll be honest with you, the other night when I did some more digging, I was uncomfortable. I did not sleep very well. So it's a little scary. I have talked to some law enforcement about it in the Tucson area. So they're aware of what I found and the connections and the names that go with it. And we'll just, I don't think I've come up with anything, genius.
So obviously, we're not naming names or
Right.
specific
And
clubs,
we're not
hiker
saying that
clubs, or
anybody's guilty of anything. It just was interesting that this seems to be a history of criminal activity, and the criminal activity that I just named, from contract hits to drug activity, drug trafficking, to actually manufacturing those drugs, has all been linked to those specific hiker clubs.
but they all tie into somebody who has a
Yes.
connection. So
Yes.
it's just another theory at this point.
Yep.
But thank you to the person That
Who
was
helped me?
3
Yes.
weeks of work and lots of dead ends, which I'm sure, we're experiencing what law enforcement detectives experience, that, you do a lot of
Thank you so
work to find
much.
out your hunch was wrong. So there were a lot of
Thank you. I
turns
appreciate
and
that. The super
things
chat.
on.
Sorry, the super chat. I was reading it.
We
Yes.
got a super chat already?
Yeah. Said you do not need to give names. Those who follow you and other YouTubers know. Stay safe. Thank
Oh,
you.
thank you. Who's that?
I don't.
FY 5.
We appreciate you.
That's cool.
He or she. We don't know. Thank you so much. We
That's a good
appreciate that.
point, very good point. But
Sorry.
just basically, we're not narrowing it down to one person, honestly. So it's just about this element that
Yeah.
we can establish. I mean, every big city has it, and Tucson is a big city compared to what we're used to. So they have their issues there, just like anywhere else. But there is a specific flavor, I guess, of
Mhm.
criminal activity in the area. If you've watched any of Damien
857.
857 Tucson,
Yeah.
he does such a wonderful job of going around his city and just kind of pointing out things, and the good and the bad. I mean, like any town, but I watched one that he was on about a year ago, and I was really surprised at the turn that Tucson's made. So, always
Wow.
had the element like any big
Yeah.
town, but it feels like there's something bigger going on the last probably 5, 7 years, I guess. So that's all we're saying. There could be a connection there that they should probably be looking into.
There's definitely so apparently they can green light a hit. The phrase was used in court document reporting.
Back up. Who can
What?
green light a hit?
So the hiker clubs
Oh,
can green it's called greenlit. The phrase was used in court document reporting to describe gang authorization or approval for violence against a targeted person. It is not by itself proof that money changed hands, but it's a term that's used. My husband could solve that Rubik's Cube in less than a minute.
sleepy.
What's
Sleepy
funny
panda.
is my nephew as well, and we would buy him all these complicated ones, and he would figure it out.
He
It's
literally
definitely is a different type
and
of
it's
brain.
done.
So kudos to your husband, because I think in the 80s I finally just started peeling stickers.
Well, he does that triangle one too,
So,
really quick. That's
yes.
crazy.
Yeah, the pyramid. Yeah. So anyway,
Pyramid, sorry.
it's okay. No, I mean, it is a triangle on a few sides. Let's see. So what's interesting about this, so I have the broader gang context. The Aryan Brotherhood and Mexican Mafia. The U.S. Department of Justice describes the Aryan Brotherhood as a highly structured prison gang whose income has included cocaine, heroin, marijuana, methamphetamine distribution. The DOJ materials say some Aryan Brotherhood members have established business relationships with Mexican drug trafficking organizations and describe the gang as frequently involved in M for hire, homicide for hire. DOJ also describes the Aryan Brotherhood as historically linked to the Mexican Mafia, while warning that the relationship has not always been stable and has included periods of tension. The federal cases separately document both organizations directing killings and attempted homicide from inside the prison system. A 2019 federal Aryan Brotherhood case also alleged a drug trafficking partnership with Aryan Brotherhood members and Mexican Mafia members. The other thing that was interesting here is that it mentioned multiple times that because of the alliances, once they're in the prison system also, that unfortunately, some of law enforcement is also involved in some of that trafficking and helping out those members, not only traffic illegal drugs, but also some of the contract hits.
So we're getting some confusion
Okay.
because people are very clear to say there's no way a gang would have anything to do with hurting Nancy. So you need to clear that. It's not saying that gangs were out for Nancy.
That's not
It's
what I'm
nothing to
saying.
do with
This
it.
is what I just clearly read, and I'll repeat it again, is that they have been known to have described the gang as frequently involved in murder for hire. So most of the time it's within the clubs, but it's also within members that are friends, family, what they consider family, which was very interesting to me. The pictures that I found are extremely disturbing. Some of these clubs have their infants dressed in their attire. grannies wearing the attire and the colors to represent these gangs. It was extremely disturbing. I saw little children even
Well, it
doing.
may be hard for us to understand,
Yeah.
but it's a culture that you grow up in. It feels legitimate and
Well, and it feels
real,
safe
and it
to a
feels
lot of these
safe, and it's your
people.
family,
That's exactly right.
and a lot of these hiker clubs, they do run legitimate businesses, and then they also have some criminal element, and some of them have a lot of criminal element, some have none. So the ones that we're
The ones
talking
that I'm
about,
talking about have a history in Tucson specifically.
right, correct.
And in Phoenix
And
specifically.
yeah,
And again, this is not accusing anybody. This is not saying that these are definitely the people. I just found an extreme repetitive behavior of people that I searched that we have been told are possibly linked, not yet cleared, and that to these particular, as we said, hiker clubs. And the interesting thing to me is that thread of contract for hire,
yeah.
contract hits came up multiple times. And what I thought was interesting is it wasn't always related to the inside of the club. What I did find very fascinating and kind of telling is I think a lot of us have been saying, how do we have $1.25 million? And if there's more than one person involved, why aren't they turning on each other? Well, what I found was
Good question.
if it is in fact the link that I'm potentially proposing here, then that might explain a lot because they don't turn on each other. That's it. So we have a couple videos that we wanted you to see, and I think you can play whichever one you want because both of them are relevant.
Okay, we'll go with the legitimate news clip.
And again, thank you everyone for joining us, and those of you that just got in, please hit the like button, and then we're going to play the video.
Okay, rolling clip 4.
This is Santiago Rogers in Pima County Superior Court. This hearing about a case from February. Rogers is charged in that case with trafficking stolen property, aggravated robbery, and aggravated assault. The judge calling for a continuance on this till September 25th. Rogers in this case behind bars on a $50,000 bond.
I'm Craig Smith at Pima County Superior Court. The two men charged with killing Tucson Police Cadet Carlos Ramirez has spent a lot of time in front of judges over the years, and one of them was back in court on an unrelated charge. Santiago Jorge Rogers was in front of Judge Alan Goodwin wearing the stripes that mark him as someone who needs to be kept away from other jail inmates because he's a threat or he's in protective custody. He was in the courtroom for a charge that happened months before the murder charges in the death of Tucson Police Cadet Carlos Ramirez. It's a case involving charges of car theft and an aggravated assault so serious court documents say the victim suffered a broken collarbone, fractured skull, or both. In his first appearance after his arrest for murder charges, Alex James Barnett was also dressed in stripes that indicate special handling instead of the usual orange jail uniform. He was denied bond because of the nature of the murder charge, but the law called for him to be locked up for another reason, violating his probation for another criminal case. When that judge asked him if he understood his obligations, he responded like someone who's been asked that question before.
Do you understand that, Mr. Barnett?
Yep.
All right, that's all for today.
Pima County Sheriff Chris Nanos says one of the suspects, he didn't say who, said when they invaded Carlos Ramirez's house, they were working as a rip crew, criminals who worked to steal drugs and money from other criminals. The sheriff says Barnett and Rogers simply had the wrong house, that there was nothing illegal that should have attracted them to the home that held Carlos Ramirez, his pregnant fiancee, and their child. Craig Smith, KGUN 9.
Okay.
What was interesting about that is not so much about, I know a lot of people are saying he looks like the guy, he may be the guy. We don't know if he's the guy. There's a lot of similarities to one of the porch pictures. I believe that it looks very similar, and I can see why people are saying that. What was interesting about it is his neck tattoo was an A, and that stands for the Aryan Brotherhood. And I thought that was very interesting while we were doing all of this research that this incident happened to happen in Tucson, which was so horrific. And they happened to go in with ski masks on, or balaclavas, I think is what people are calling them. I just called them a ski mask growing up. And that was kind of interesting. So I thought I want to go look into that, and then once we got better pictures, Aryan Brotherhood, and the other one was also linked as well to the Aryan Brotherhood. There's a lot of connections there, which is the connection that I was talking about. Now, something that was interesting about that clip that I noticed, I don't know if anybody else noticed it. I'm not going to be naive and think that there's, thousands of people that have been looking at these clips and didn't possibly pick up the same thing. But the reporter said what was unusual is that they weren't wearing the orange jumpsuits. So they're both in gray and white jumpsuits, which means that they have been isolated from other inmates. And I think a lot of that is can be perceived to be from the potential gang activity within the prison systems and the correction facilities to keep them safe and others safe. But it sounds like that if something happens and somebody talks or anything like that, it can put not only their own lives in danger, but others. And there's also the potential, as that reporter said, for protective custody for maybe some other reasons that we could imply. So I thought that was a little interesting. Now, the next clip is somebody who, if it's the one I'm thinking of, do you have that one? The one who he left the life. He's actually good. I found this about, I don't know, it feels like a while ago now. I've lost track of time, but I found this a while ago. And this man decided to help these type of hiker club members leave the life and find a better way of life. And he explains what the life in these clubs really looks like and their connections.
Clip 5.
In Arizona, they also have an Aryan Brotherhood that it was faction off of the California Aryan Brotherhood. It was actually a California member that came into our system. The Arizona guys kind of home grew it after that. We did align with them only because of obviously the offense to the black gangs. It was just a loose allegiance. I mean, or alignment, more of just friends. If there was something that the whites did wrong, we could go to them and they would take care of it themselves and vice versa. Obviously if they bring in drugs, they don't have to give a portion to the Mexican Mafia and vice versa. Everything stays within your own race and when it comes to that.
There's more Mexicans in the Arizona prisons than anything else.
The Arizona Mexican Mafia dominates, at least in Arizona, prison politics and kind of controls drug flow.
The reason is the races, what the percentage of races in there. There's more Mexicans in the Arizona prisons than anything else. That's why we control so much.
It's an organized system with control both inside and outside the prison.
Yes, that control has always been there due to the fact that if you don't listen to the inmate out there on the streets, and what they're telling you to do and what not to do in the neighborhoods, once you end up in prison, they will get to you.
You're going to have problems?
Or you're going to have major problems.
Well, that's scary.
I thought it was interesting. And I know somebody said the A is for Arizona. Well, specifically, when you look it up, they say a lot of them have the A specifically on the neck for Aryan Brotherhood. So maybe it is for Arizona on that particular man, but I know
Who
that
cares what it stands for?
yeah, I don't know that he's in the Aryan Brotherhood. I don't know him, so I just know that the research that I did on the Aryan Brotherhood said specifically that they will wear the A logo on their neck or on their chest, and it's prominently displayed. It's very, very scary. It's very interesting, and it would be interesting since a lot of us have wondered what the connection would be, who would do this, if it was outside, an insider, who that outsider would be, or if it was an insider that hired an outsider, who that outsider would be, that they wouldn't turn anybody in to get the 1.25 million. And if it's a connection such as this, I now know why. That would be very interesting if it turned out to be something like this, because they don't turn on each other. It's not worth it to them. And there's a lot of different networks for income that go everything from S trafficking to drug trafficking to there's clubs that they own that have, S in them. So there's all sorts of activities where they are able to make income. And like Glenn said, unfortunately, when there's an element that you grow up in, like this, you can absolutely go check out his interview. It was too long to put it here. It's not horribly long. It was extremely interesting how he got started in it. He actually got started in it as a child, as a minor. He committed homicide to prove his worth, and he was part of the Mexican Mafia. And he said that there's a lot of them that are in the club that are not even Hispanic. He said, you don't have to be. So I thought that was interesting. And he said that they form alliances with each other to just, with certain groups that they're not normally, friendly with. But it's all about who's going to get you where and who's going to get you what and who's going to get you out of what and who's going to get the person that you don't want or groups that you don't want involved out. So, but they do find it to be a family. He said a lot of it is romantic. He mentioned several movies, famous movies, which I thought was interesting, that he said were used to kind of show the youth how cool it is and what kind of clout you can get for being a part of these and how they bring in a historical background to it, especially for the Mexican Mafia. They bring in the Aztecs. They bring in all sorts of historical culture to make it seem like you're part of something that's deeply rooted in your culture. So I watched it with eyes of judgment at first, and then when I was watching it longer, I could see how if you're living food insecure, financially insecure, in an area that is extremely dangerous, how forming these alliances could somehow seem not only romantic, but like you're helping your family and you're helping your neighborhood somehow. It's a very interesting dichotomy, and it's a very
Yeah.
interesting psychology, I think, behind it.
Yeah, it's a way of life. It's all they know.
Yeah.
And again, some of them it's partially legitimate businesses, so you kind of feel like you're involved with something that's okay, and then you're asked to do things over time, and they know how what they're doing. But again, it's not saying that these these biker gangs picked on Nancy because they were
Hiker.
hiker gangs. My theory is still the same. Somehow it's tied into the guy who did the roof, her plumber, someone helping her around
Oh.
the house, the lawn guy, the pool guy. Not that they did it, but their uncle, brothers, cousins, friends, Vato did it. You know what I mean? And then they found out through that person he's part of any kind of gang anyway. It doesn't have to be a biker gang, just a gang, period. And they make the call. Hey, that's a way for us to get money. And we're from Tucson, where there's not huge opportunities. Most people have pretty good security that are at that level.
Well, one of those people, ironically, has, I believe it's a cousin that is a roofer and does roofing all over Arizona. So I haven't found any permits that have been pulled. Thank you so much for the jewels. I haven't found any, thanks, Stephs. I haven't found any direct connections, permits that have been pulled with that company name, because some of the photos had a company name specifically on it. But I did find that interesting
Because you had a
that,
roof done, you were
yeah,
looking at
that,
oh my gosh, yeah.
there's some of that you never know. So I wasn't even thinking that that's where this was going to end up. Thank you so much, JXB. Okay, I grew up
Avenidas.
in Avenidas neighborhood, very scary, Highland Park, California. Yeah, I mean,
Man, what a
it's
difference a couple of states make. Highland Park, Texas is where you want to live if you're in Texas.
yeah, I guess it depends on where the Highland Park is.
Yeah.
But the person that was actually helping me with this, ironically, was able to see this connection a lot faster than I was because her husband had actually grown up in an area where this was very prominent. And she started asking him about some of the tattoos, some things that we were looking at, and he was able to identify them pretty quickly. And he was like, "You were so sheltered." And she goes, "What are you talking about? I'm sorry, I have no idea what these are." So I saw a lot of Hells Angels violence when I was a young kid, very scary. Me too, in the Denver area. We actually knew about it in elementary school, that it was something to stay away from. So, I mean, it's something that a lot of people grow up with. I think it's interesting that a lot of us don't understand how these systems work through the correctional facilities, which was even more frightening to me. How many of the correctional facilities people are sometimes involved? And that gentleman that we saw first that left the life, he talks about that. He talks about the women being involved with some of the inmates and how they help bring in drugs, sometimes voluntarily and sometimes just unknowingly, because they have formed a relationship with one of the inmates, and they'll say, just bring me some, I just want these specific kind of shoes. And then they'll bring in the shoes not knowing that they have drugs in them. So the relationship thing was kind of interesting, that I found out that through his account, and then through a lot of the research that we were reading, that which was so disturbing to me, how many of the correctional facilities
Yeah.
have corruptness in them, with them even forming alliances, so much so that he said in his broadcast that they would even open up doors so that other inmates could unalive another inmate, which was a little gulp worthy. Very, very shocking. So, but I think it's something to consider, that if the person that did decide to do this to Nancy was either not random. I don't believe this was random. I believe that there's a potential for them to have hired somebody out of these particular hiker clubs to potentially carry this out. And if that's true, then that would make a lot of sense as to why nobody's moved forward. Now, the question would be, who would have been associated with those hiker clubs, and what kind of association? Was it a casual association? Was it I dated somebody in one of those associations, so therefore you have friends, but maybe you're not a member of the said club, but you're a casual friend, which apparently that happens a lot. It's not like they only hang out with their club members. The other question would be, if somebody knew of these alliances, knew that there were people like this that could carry something out like this, that's done it before and has gotten away with it, then what would the motive have been? I think a lot of us feel like the ransom aspect of it. Thank you so much. Love the
Hey,
work y'all. Oh, thank
Christina.
you, Christina. We
Love
really
the
appreciate
work
that.
y'all are doing. That's so
That's
awesome.
very nice of you. We appreciate that.
Christina C, 1969. Hey, you're getting up to be my age.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Not that
It
you were
feels
born in
like just
69.
yesterday that we were in the 90s and early 2000s. I don't know what happened. I woke up and I was old. But
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it
we
would
need a new
be
beer.
also interesting to assume, which I think a lot of us have, that there's a potential, like Glenn said, that it was a roofer or a caregiver or somebody else that knew somebody else that was potentially in these hiker clubs. And it wasn't that person once removed from Nancy that said, I want to hit. It was more, hey, this lady is connected to Miss Guthrie. But then again, this is kind of, then I feel like Dr. Severs, but then I have more questions, right? It's like, if we go with that theory, then what was the motive? Because they didn't follow through with the ransom.
Yeah, you have to get back to the basic question is, was she taken, like abducted for ransom, or was this an elimination murder, as Dr. Picado likes to say? And nobody can answer that for sure yet. But when you start to go over the things, like, for example, the ransom notes, the ransom
Right.
note, there's one ransom note and one death note that we know.
We're calling it the death note. We're not
Right.
calling that second one a
Hey,
ransom.
Dawn.
Thank you so
Welcome.
much for subscribing.
So, ransom note, I mean, the way it's worded, it kind of sounds like, I mean, you can be a buffoon and be an abductor. I mean, you can be really smart genius and be an abductor. There's no rules of the level of, IQ this person has to have. That letter, if you just read it word for what it says, yeah, we have your mother. She's scared. I want $4 million. The problem I have is when they ask for more if you don't hit that first date. Like, what? No, there's a date. That's it. You hit the
Right.
date or you're gone. That's usually, I would think, how you would do it. I mean, I can't tell you how I would do it because I don't know how, I don't think that way. But I'm pretty sure I would just say, "Give me my $4 million or your mom's not coming home," you
Thank you
know?
so much.
Anyway,
Or
fanatic.
Mink. Oh, a gaming fanatic.
I love trying to
Sorry, I
figure
had to
these out.
figure
That's
it
a good
out.
one.
Thank you so much.
Because it was a game to figure out the
So,
name.
yeah. Money
I
or
got it.
revenge, payback for something is what Boomer said. Hey, Boomer, thank you so much for joining
Wait, what did
us.
he say? Money or
Money or revenge, payback for something. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So that's what I mean. But was it abducted for money or was it for now? If it was abduction for money, it could be. Let's just say roofer. I don't mean it's the roofer. It's just because she's got a bright white roof on it, and it's what hits me that
You're
maybe
saying it
done.
was a potential service that had been done on her property that may have potentially put her in a classification as a target.
I have the feeling just roofer. Probably wasn't a roofer. Just pick one. Roofer, plumber, whatever. Hey, Miss Guthrie, I'm finished with your roof now. And somehow they get in a conversation. She's like, "Oh, you probably know my daughter. You see her on the Today Show in the
Who
mornings."
wouldn't? She's proud of her daughter.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
he's like, "Oh, that's nice." And not that he's a bad guy either, but he may went home, told his wife who has a son or a cousin who knows somebody who's in a gang, and a few weeks later, it's gone through the telephone game, and Savannah Guthrie's worth $40 million or whatever she's worth, 10 million, 20 million, 100 million, I don't know. And then her mom lives here, and I just worked on the house, and I can tell you there's not much security there. There's no gate at the driveway or any of the stuff that people have.
Love Jones 2177 said, "Ain't nobody thank me for subscribing. What am I, chop liver? I didn't see that you subscribed today. I'm so sorry. If we missed you before, well, we appreciate it."
Love Jones, that is a good name.
Yes, and I like the picture. I like the
Love
glasses.
Jones, yeah.
Thank you so much.
See, I can't pull off glasses like that.
No,
I've
you
tried.
cannot.
It's just- I
Neither can
want to
I.
have the iconic glasses. A lot of these
You
people.
look good in aviators. You look really good in
That's
aviators.
so presidential.
Presidential.
That's
It's
what.
just they fit your eye shape really well.
Well,
So
okay.
anyway.
I wore them
No,
for
the
many
wrench
years.
attacks, I think I've taken completely off the table after talking to our Bitcoin expert. And for those of you that haven't seen it, I absolutely recommend going back and looking at Paul Sabinik. He is a global forensic expert in Bitcoin, and he works with abductions, he works with divorces, any kind of case related to Bitcoin and forensics he's done. He specifically said that he has never seen a case
I like that
where
picture
a
too.
person was abducted that was 1 degree of separation from the actual Bitcoin. So if you're going to see a wrench attack, in his experience, it's always been the actual Bitcoin owner. So what did she say? I didn't see what that person said. Coffin Deffer said what?
That's Yvette.
Oh, Yvette.
Yeah.
Coffin Deffer, the hired Guthrie spokesperson, put out the wrench attack theories. BS, that wasn't that.
Alex is high.
I mean, I have to agree with the fact that I don't think it's a wrench attack, but La MA not involved in my opinion.
Says he doesn't think the Mexican Mafia.
Well,
I'm not saying
I don't
they are
know.
for sure.
What was interesting was that the stuff he said in that interview played into a lot of what I've done in my research that seems to connect. And the reason that would play into it would be that they have a lot of connections down in Mexico. So if we do end up finding out that Miss Guthrie was deposited there to be unfortunately not properly buried and put to rest, but disposed of, then that would lead me to believe that there is a connection with them because they absolutely do use that area down there, is what I understand. And I know that it's not always common. I know that a lot of the time it's Mount Lemon, it's the desert, that seems to be a lot more common, but it's not off the table, is the point, is being in Mexico.
Oh yeah, please like.
Yeah,
And
thank you so
subscribe,
much.
and we apologize if we don't acknowledge every subscription because I think a bunch came in and didn't acknowledge on
Oh, shoot.
the thing
That we missed it?
apparently, but I don't know. But
Um,
please like right now for anything. If you're not doing anything else, just hit the like
we hate
button.
begging, but it sure does help
But
us.
only if you like it.
Yeah, only if you like it.
Hey,
So,
KW. See, I saw that one.
KW, thank you so
Yeah,
much.
welcome.
So, I see that Jacqueline Jacobson is saying that it's a shame that the church friends didn't call 911 first before calling the family. I I think the instinct would be, let me call her daughter. Maybe she's ill, maybe something happened. And since I can't get a hold of her, maybe that wasn't the initial instinct was panic ensuing. Maybe it was, I bet her daughter knows where she is, you know?
Yeah.
That's my theory in it. So, but you know, I
Wait,
think
wait, wait. What does it say?
we keep saying we
Lawyers-
don't know what happened.
Lawyer is saying that DC's court date for
For
sentencing.
sentencing moved up to Monday. Interesting. Well, maybe we will be covering
Well, I
that.
know Alex will be there.
Yeah, and maybe we'll be covering it just live from the
Maybe
Ozarks.
Damien, Alex, and
Yeah, and putting up one of their live broadcasts if they're there. That's interesting. I did not know that. But it is interesting to think that there's this very interesting thread. And by the way, that thread of these particular hiker clubs that I've mentioned go to Club Congress.
yeah.
And several of them have no friends have spoke on Nancy. It's
Yeah,
weird to me.
Stacks. I don't.
Stacks, we've all been talking about it, Glen, me, with my friends. What do you
I
think
just feel
about
like,
it as a man? What do you
hey,
think?
Phyllis, welcome in.
Thank you so much.
I feel like if my friend were abducted and literally God knows what else has happened, I would want this in the news every 10 seconds. Hey, Jen,
Thank you so much, Jen
Frederick.
Frederick.
I would be climbing every tree and hollering as loud as I could. And the family,
Yeah.
if they came to me and said, "Hey, please," I'd be asking them, "What are you doing?" Like that's not how this works. And not that we're didn't know this before, but it's been reinforced by just about every law enforcement detective, specifically homicide detectives, private investigator, news people that watch this stuff constantly, that the way that these get solved is through the general public not letting it just die off and go away.
That's the
Because
part that's weird.
eventually it turns into a John Benet Ramsey case. And, you know, God love them to still to this day not have answers. I don't want that for the Guthrie family.
No.
And so I just feel like they're misguided.
family.
They may hate me for coming on here twice a week and talking about Nancy, and we have other things to talk about, and we will for sure. But right now, this is the focus because I just feel like it's a mission for all of us to not that we are the ones that can figure this out, but we are the ones that can continue to talk about it and, you know, make
Yeah.
enough noise and rattle our rattles and go, listen, you need to do something about this to where Sheriff Nanos and his team will continue. Like
And the FBI.
people are, you know, they're all on this bandwagon of we need to get rid of Sheriff Nanos and all that. Well, look, they tried and that didn't happen a few months ago. So let's move on and put our energies into. I saw,
Thank you, Bama Flower.
I think it was Damien, 857 Tucson, Alex, Criminal Network, JLR. They were out there protesting. And I know that they were kind of just messing around, joking there was a protest. They were sitting on the parking lot. But believe me, that got back to some people. I think that was more powerful than anyone can ever even imagine because the word protest was said over and over. And seeing you guys sit there, and I thought to myself, hey, Kim,
Kim Rainwater.
that's a cool
I
name.
love that name.
So I just sat there and went, I know y'all are just kind of like, you know, eating, having a good time and all that, but it's no joke. You guys are there, and who spends their afternoon, evening into later hours on an uncomfortable chair eating chicken fingers or whatever it was y'all were eating and pacing around? That's not, and then broadcasting, none of this is easy.
Yeah.
People, everybody knows it's not easy to spend your time to do that. And I think that makes a difference because we're all watching going, gosh, I wish I was there. And then the ones that are there, you're being seen. There's windows on that building and there's people walking in and out. There's cars driving in that are going inside. So, hey, Keith.
Hi, Keith Weaver. Thank you so much for subscribing.
So I'm just saying,
Criminal Network
we
just put
cannot
up
stop.
another-
I know we're making some people upset, you know, but Jen and I are just trying to take it on as a little bit not different than everybody else is doing, but I don't know what I'm trying to say. It's more like just we want to be as consistent as everybody else is on this, you know. I see Criminal Network and Alex all over the place. He's on everyone's show. He's got his own show. He's on panels. Damien, I've seen him on stuff.
Patriot Pride is doing it
Adam
too.
and Mike are all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And
They're going on different channels. Crime Crunchies. She's
And-
been interviewed and
yeah, and it's not
interviewing.
because
Yeah.
you want to sit there on a panel and drudge on about this stuff. It's not fun. It's not. I promise. It's not fun. It's work. And it's for a reason. It's for a cause. And it's not like I have this mission that My wife's a truth warrior. I mean, that's what she is. I know someone's name is truth warrior, but she's a justice warrior. That's not fair, and I want it to be fair. It's not even about that. It's about there is somebody missing. We're making a lot of assumptions that she's no longer with us. That very well could be, and I hate to say probably is the case, but that's not the point. The point is she's still a body that needs to be brought back to her family. Whether the family had anything to do with this or not, also beside the point. I personally don't think that those two people that talk about it as being family members are involved. But that is totally a gut feeling. People that do this have done this for a living and are retired. People that are currently doing this for a living, most of them don't agree with me just because of raw statistics
Right.
and data that comes
It's
in.
not any personal data in the case. It's
Right.
just statistical data
Right.
that tells
I'm
them.
using my gut, which in business, my gut anyway. They used to call. I took this long time ago when I was first starting out my career. It was this management thing retreat. We went to Vegas, if you remember when we first got
Oh,
married.
yeah.
And this whole class on don't trust gut guy. In other words, in business with numbers and the business I was in, people's investments at stake. Don't be gut guy. And it's kind of carried on with me for a lot of my life. There are times where like I have some intuition. It's a little bit different. Like all the times you've experienced something, you start to go, I can tell the repetitiveness, the formula, this is the way it's gonna go. I'm not talking about that. Gut guy is when you feel like, I don't know, I got a feeling about it. And not anything against people that are clairvoyant or psychics or whatever, because they have solved some cases, whether we like it or not. I'm not a big believer in any of that stuff, but I do feel like there are people that get I don't know how to say it. They're more connected
Feelings.
to the frequencies of the planet than I am. And they consistently get things right just by, I don't know if it's having visions or whatever, however it happens. Some of that stuff it works. And there are a lot of police officers, detectives
That don't want to admit
that
it, but
don't
they
want to
use
admit it,
them.
that they use them.
Yeah.
And they have a lot higher closing ratio than a lot because of it. And they won't talk about it.
Well, I think a lot of women would poo-poo you on that and say you don't have to be psychic to have feelings. I think a lot of
Yeah, I guess
women,
I'm talking to the men because women do have that something weird.
I think we get feelings on things and we trust it. I think I see Inner Strength saying, I have yet to have my gut mislead me. That's exactly right. So, but in
I get that.
in a case like this, we trust our faith, we trust our gut, and we trust the evidence. And
Mix of everything.
the evidence has to come first in this because, and unfortunately for us, as much as we want to help, law enforcement has to keep this stuff locked down. We talk about it all the time because for those of you that don't know us, you haven't been here before, Glen's brother-in-law is a former homicide detective out of Kansas City. And, he did it for 20 plus years. And, I think one of those things that he told us is he said it very politely, but just very matter of fact, very, very matter of fact. And I really appreciate that. He said, "What do you want to know?" Hola from Mexico. Happy
Hola.
Saturday, everyone.
Hola.
Hey, pretty little clues. Justine. I didn't know she was in Mexico. That's funny. I hope it's on a beach. So one thing he said to me was, you it's none of your business to know what's going on with the case.
Yeah.
What is major bit? Let's see. This mafia hiker connection kind of makes sense now. Why none of the neighbors and friends are talking? Maybe they're literally fearing their life. Whether it's relative or not,
Pretty
I
smart.
think your point is very valid. I think a lot of these people are, first of all, Nancy's friends. Some of them may not be quote unquote elderly. I don't know what we consider elderly now, but if you go to, get AARP, you're in your 50s. If you get a discount at Denny's, you're in your 50s.
Sugar pop.
But some of them are 60s, right?
Welcome
So, oh, thank you
Yeah.
so much. So I don't know what's considered elderly anymore. To me, elderly is probably 76 on up, but I know people in their late 70s that are running circles around me. And she's my stepmom is not in her late 70s, but she's in her early 70s. And we were hiking up our hill. When I say hiking, it's a walk. And very funny. And she was totally fine. And I was out of breath and I was mortified. So,
It's
you
for the
know,
theme of the night, the
yeah,
Nicaragua.
there's your water. But elderly people that may be friends of hers, to your point, the last comment, I think are probably terrified. If it could happen to her and you have the full weight of the FBI, and whether we agree with it or not, politically or otherwise, the president of the United States, which I think if our family member was missing, I don't care, who was president, if they came out and said, we're going to help this person, wouldn't you be excited? I think you would be excited, but I think a lot of us also agree probably wasn't appropriate. Having said that, none of that matters. The point is, the president said it. The FBI said, we're here. And we're 7 months in and we can't find her. And we're 7 months in and Savannah only talks to us in code. And I think all of us are not, dumb. We understand she's not talking to us. She's talking to the perpetrators. She's either talking to what they believe is a female involved that may have more sensitivity in this case, or she's talking to just whoever will listen that may be involved in this case, whether it's a peripheral or direct involvement, saying, help me find my mom. And the only time she talks to the public seems to be slightly disparaging about what the public is saying or doing. It's just this weird butting of heads in this case. There's a lot of us that want to see the friends, that want to hear them say that she was a sweet person, that she baked or she gardened or she was an artist. We don't need to know the family dynamics. We just want to know about Nancy. But for all we know, she could have been a crotchety old lady. But that still doesn't mean she had the right to be taken out of her home after 40 something years there in the middle of the night by terrifying people. So we're just doing our best. We're trying to put pieces together. And do I really think that me and my assistant, who wants to remain anonymous, are the ones that are going to solve this case? No. But I think that if we figured out some of these things and a lot of the connections that seem to be direct connections, then I'm pretty sure the FBI has it. I'm pretty sure they figured it out. So then the question remains, where's Nancy? Where did they take her? And that for me is part of the puzzle. I want to see who I think might be involved and where those people that are possibly involved would take her or dispose of her or bury her in nature. Where would that be? And there's been some areas that have come up. One of them keeps pointing back to Mexico. Do I think she's in Mexico? I don't know. I'm just going to keep saying, I think it's really weird that they keep asking for her mom to be brought back to Arizona so they can, lie her to rest properly. And yet nobody will check it out. So thank you so much, Ronnie. I appreciate it. Mr. Garcia contacted me and let me know that he will be coming on tonight to give us a little bit of an update.
Yeah,
And
I think that's
are
it.
you kidding? What perfect timing. That was not planned, by the way. He just called in.
All right, I'm going to put him in.
All right.
Let's check in with Mr. Garcia is on the road.
Well, if that wasn't perfect timing, I don't know what was.
Let's see if this works.
Unbelievable.
Hey, you're actually driving. Can you hear us, Bill?
Yeah, I'm having some issues. Hang on a sec.
Okay.
Okay. We
Well, I can't believe you called.
Caught in a really, really, really bad flash flood, and it affected my
shoot.
vehicle. Bear with me for a bit while I try to get off the road here.
No
Yeah,
problem.
You continue.
Well,
We're fine.
Yeah, you have no idea that I just literally was talking about you and then you called in. So
Yeah,
I
I was
just,
watching the
timing.
clock. Do you hear the GPS stuff or no?
nope. And even if we
Okay,
did, it's
good.
totally fine. We're just glad that you could join us.
We told everybody that you were on the road heading through a storm and you were just going to check in with us. So this is where in the world is Bill Garcia?
Yep.
Yeah, they used to call me Waldo. Where is Waldo?
Where's Waldo? So, for some people that don't know, Mr. Garcia is a private detective of over 35 years.
Correct.
And he has found multiple remains and brought them back to their families. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been children. And he will be the first to tell you that not all the time does he go searching and find anything. And not all the time does he get hired and find everything, but or anything. But he's been very fortunate in a lot of his searches to have been able to find remains and bring them back to their families. He's also been able to help law enforcement bring hardened criminals back into the arms of law enforcement and behind bars where they belong. So we were fortunate enough that Mr. Garcia agreed to come on our broadcast and talk to us initially about just how a private investigator would get involved in a missing persons case in the first place. And usually he does this for hire, but he has clients that hire him all the time. In fact, he said he doesn't need a website at this point. His reputation stands on its own, but he also does a lot of pro bono cases, primarily children, families of children that need help and don't have the funds to hire a private investigator. So we were very fortunate to have him talk to us about what that might look like in this case. And luckily, he had some thinking to do. He got out of it for a little while, decided to get back in, and also had some people that were kind enough through his GoFundMe a little bit, but also private funding to help out a little bit. But it's nowhere near what was needed to really do this investigation, but he's still doing it anyway. So thank you for stopping in with us. Do you have any information for us tonight?
Well, I'm still unpacking what I've learned today. We did conduct a major search of a particular area that does interest me. And I think as time goes on and we learn more from law enforcement, they will start to share some of the information that we may be learning at this point.
Really?
And yeah, there's quite a lot going on. I usually will listen to law enforcement. Very often they will give you little clues in their press conferences, although there hasn't been a lot of press conferences with this particular case.
Yeah.
But usually they'll give us nuggets that we can latch onto and utilize them in some fashion. And we're kind of doing that here. And we've learned a lot. There's a lot that isn't being done, but there's some things that I see that are happening that may lead to a much bigger picture of what we have learned in the last little while. And so it's kind of hard to talk about it because, like I said, we're still unpacking baggage. And we're learning about a particular subject that has come forward a number of times, indicating that he knows where Nancy is. In fact, there's some culpability there. And
Interesting.
I think he may actually be feeling some guilt here. He's claiming he didn't have anything to do with her death, but he did have some involvement after the fact. And I think that that might actually be coming to a head. So we've been working on that most recently. There's several other things to look at, but this is one of the most compelling one because it does give us an indication that there may be a much bigger picture here. And I apologize if I'm kind of talking in circles. I'm trying to bring
No,
things forward while I try to hobble my vehicle back to a location on friendly grounds. And so I apologize for that.
no apologies. We're just grateful you joined us this evening and are willing to give us a little bit of an update. I know you don't want to discuss where you have been, but can you give us? Oops, did we lose him? We'll hang in there and see if he comes back. I know that the where he's at, the service is a little spotty. Thank you so much for the jewels. Can you hear us now?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
So I know that you didn't want to talk about where you were. Is that still the case? You want to keep it quiet for now?
Not really. Not really. I
Okay.
actually would like to disclose. To me, I think it's very important that those that need to know about what's going on. We'll start off by saying that I met with the National Federal Police. I met with the state police that are in charge of missing and abducted persons,
Wow.
and with the National Forensic Group that was there for a recovery find, and also with local municipal police. So obviously that tells you I have been south of the border,
Okay.
and there's a lot of compelling evidence that leads me to believe that this could be a very, very credible lead. I spoke to someone you've spoken to at length
Okay.
today during the search, and
Thank you,
we
Michael.
had talked before, and I do believe that she is onto something.
Okay.
It's a really, really difficult area to search because of the recent flash floods, not including today's. The roadway is actually a wash area. And because of the extensive flooding in the particular area that they have been looking at, they've been out a number of times. And we were not able to get quite as close as to where we wanted to be. And that's because of the wash area. And then when the flooding started, we literally had to beat feet out of there and
Wow.
and get safe, which didn't go completely unscathed. And we'll have to figure out what's going on with the vehicle. At least I'm able to hobble it.
Oh no.
So,
I'm sorry.
so
That's scary.
yeah, things do happen, and
Well,
it's
we
just
appreciate you
the
calling
nature of the
us on the
beast.
road like this. Can
Well,
you
I'm just glad that you're
reveal,
able to hear me.
yeah, if you can hear us, is there anything
I
that you
can.
can reveal about your conversation with her that led you to believe that this may be credible? Was it beyond what you
Well,
heard on our show?
um, there are some new elements to it. He continues. This group, this group has been out there a number of times, and after each attempt, um, the guy has called back again and kind of led them closer to the location where where he is indicating that Nancy's remains are, and that would be remains. The problem with today's search is that the closest we could get to the actual area is 8 mile hike after an hour and a half drive to the area.
Wow.
So that's a little bit of a difficulty to actually get to the area, but we made a really good attempt before the storm came in, and like I said, it was a major storm. It was more than
I
I
saw
had
the
ever
video.
experienced.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
pretty,
was
pretty
intense.
crazy.
Well, let me ask you
And
this. If that's the
go ahead.
case, that it's a
Mhm.
mile and a half or hike after an hour and a half drive,
It's an
if
8 hour hike after an hour and a half drive
8 hour. Okay, so
because of
how
the
do you think
roads.
they got her there? What would be your best guess if
I'm
that's
sorry, say
truly the
that again.
case? I said if that's really the case that she or an old lady from Arizona that's white is over there and buried, how do you think they got her there?
Well, the access is much, much, much closer. It's within 1/2 to 1 kilometer from the U.S. border in an exposed area of border along this particular region. And there is no border wall in this particular area.
Right.
I won't name the reason why, but there's been some activity by our federal government in nearby areas. And
Can
what
I
I
say where
learned
it
today,
is? Because I think I know where you're talking about.
you may.
I'm assuming that this is by the reservation that's been an issue over the last couple of days.
That's exactly where it is.
So they could
And
come through the reservation through Tucson.
they can come from Tucson down to Nogales. There's 2 routes that take you on to the northern side of the reservation. And then it's my understanding that certain people have been allowed access back and forth across the border, which could mean human trafficking.
Which would be why
It could
you had
mean
to do an 8.5-mile hike. So somebody else that was coming through there illegally or legally, either having allowed access, would be able to get there much easier than you would, is what you're saying.
they would have been there within moments.
Really?
And right now, I'm looking, 1 person, even 2, is not going to be able to carry that type of weight very far. So I have a recorded plea by the head of this particular group that is asking for help from U.S. law enforcement. And there's other things that I'm not going to talk about that particular area, but they are extremely, extremely credible. And apparently this activity has been going on for some time. So if law enforcement is there talking about doing soil samples for a wall to be built, you don't usually bring in armed federal agents, particular CBP and FBI, for a subcontract group to come in and do boreholes along a section of area that's going to be fenced in the future. It's more, to me, and this is an assumption, the assumption to me is it's more that they're trying to put a cork in the fence and stop anything further from happening. And what I've learned today, it's quite extensive. And apparently they've been fighting this, the nation, the indigenous people have been fighting this because they use this to travel back between their U.S. portion and their Mexico portion. They have livestock, they have water access. There's a lot of reasons. They had access to this for forever prior to this wall going up, the border fence wall. And so it just shows me that there's an additional reason why this is happening all at one time. And I know law enforcement doesn't always tell us everything. They don't need to. It's not a requirement because they're doing their job. But I think part of this has kind of slipped out of the bag. There's a lot of resources needed. I've been asked by this group to possibly help them in some way, which I'm going to find a way to do that.
Oh, wow.
It's interesting. Every single member of this volunteer search group of this cooperative has lost a relative and or family member. Some right off of their porches, others from their jobs, others on the street. And they have also received phone calls that they can recover their loved ones. And I listened to story after story while we were out there. They were all wearing T-shirts with the missing person's name on it and a picture. And they're very adamant that, not only is Nancy missing and possibly in this area, but so are countless others.
Yeah.
And even on the drive out of this long, very brushy, rural back road area, they made stops along the way where known grave sites were, because these people will actually repurpose a previous grave site. So they have to go back
Wow.
and check prior grave sites to make sure no one else has been dumped in the hole. And recently, they started, not the volunteers, but the agency started to pour large rocks and even mix it with concrete
Oh yeah.
so that they couldn't use existing holes any longer.
Oh my God, the stuff we
And
do and have to worry about.
just the photographs, the drone videos that we shot, the area is very, very inaccessible to a normal person. But when you have the ability to walk right across the border and you can't access it easily from anywhere else south of the border, it makes absolute sense for these guys to be doing what they're doing in a particular area where you're not going to have an easy recovery.
So there's like
And
a front
so
door that they're using. You're having to go around the backside and spend 8 hours to get there. And they probably know this. And it may be the reason they're using the front door because they're the ones that have access to it when we don't.
that's exactly right. And even for the volunteers and myself, my son said, "This looks like a scene out of Sicario."
Oh
We
my
literally had armed agents on military transport type vehicles
Gosh.
with 50 caliber machine guns and toting, AR-15s and other high power machine guns, protecting the volunteers and making sure that they were not ambushed. And so
Wow.
Oh
it's
my gosh.
it's been
Please
quite
be
a day.
careful.
Well, I'm back across. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with my vehicle in the condition. I have an off-road vehicle, and we went through some very fast-moving water that was anywhere from a foot and a half up to probably close to 3 feet at some places,
Wow.
with rocks streaming. Oh, I got some incredible footage of every aspect of this particular endeavor, and it's
Thank
going to
you
be a
so
lot to
much.
think about.
Well, I have a
But I did
question, and I
make it
know a
back to
lot
my
of people are
accommodation.
asking questions already, but I know that you said that offline, you said that this person had called back within the last 2 weeks. Was she able to tell you? And I think what was interesting when I talked to her, and I'm glad that I was able to get you both connected. And, Mark the Shark also wants to reach out to her. Mark the Shark, if you're not familiar with him, has his own YouTube channel and he does drone footage. And his drone footage is second to none. It's amazing. And he's
I
wanted to
see.
go out there and search, but I've told Mark as well, and thank you for the jewels. Is that you
Jessica.
need to really be careful. It's very dangerous out there, and this is not something that you can do without, just take a shovel and even your own dogs or something like that. You need to have protection out there. But one thing that was interesting to all of us when we've talked about it was that Ramona said that every time he calls her, he's on a different phone number. She can't call him back, but he seems to call again after he knows a search has happened. And like
Correct.
she describes kind of where she was. And then I just thought it was interesting to me in my mind with the first time I talked to her. I thought, why is this so hard if he's literally telling you where to go? And then she sent me pictures and I went, never mind. Cause it's like
Well,
this tree or that tree. So did she give you any indication on this last phone call that she said happened a couple weeks ago? Did he give her
There,
any more
wa-
information?
there was, and I don't know if he's watching or how he's gaining his information, but he did describe to her that he knew where they had searched, and then he guided her to an area based on where he knew she last was and gave her specific directions to an area. And I won't give away any of the particular location, but it is very, very close to where there should be a border wall, which again lets me believe that if they are remains, they couldn't have carried them. One person is going to have a tough time carrying
Sure.
that kind of weight. Two people are going to have some difficulty. And the area is so rough and rugged that you would not be able to go very far. So my hopes are that we're able to return from the U.S. side. And again, I'll share the video that she's asking for assistance, and she's asking for Ramona, and she's asking for people to pay attention to what's actually going on, because apparently this has been going on for quite some time, and it's taken Nancy's disappearance to actually bring it to a head, to where now pretty much the entire world's going to know about this particular area.
Yeah, Mark the Shark, Mark, he's in the chat right now, so he's watching. So yeah,
That's
he'd be
awesome.
another one to connect up with all this. Real quick, I want to get your approval first. You had sent us some pictures earlier. One of them had your truck in it, and I took that part of it out. I don't want your vehicle being seen, but if I could show these, is that okay? And I'll stop it. There may be music playing. I'll have to shut that off, and then you can tell us what we're looking at.
Sure. Put my
Okay,
glasses
good.
on here, but
Give me just a second here.
okay. So this is one of the state policemen who is specifically tasked with looking for missing and abducted people. The two women in white t-shirts, those are the volunteers who have a picture of their missing loved one on their shirt.
Wow.
Oh, goodness.
Thank you, Kimberly.
And this was at the this is where we met and organized this morning. This again is a state police vehicle, and the word on the bottom is Frontier, and they essentially are the state police in charge of law enforcement along the frontera, or the border. And they were one of the components out of the, I believe it was 4 or maybe 5 different agencies that came together on this.
Goodness.
Wow.
And I'll have some more to send you once I'm secure in my location.
Sure.
This again is the meeting position. Some of the volunteers' cars. The white vehicle, you can see there, the white truck. That's from the Mexican National Guard. They had military people. That's the one right there. That's the Mexican National Guard.
So
And
they have
if
the National Guard out there helping?
they
Wow.
had the National Guard helping them. As you can tell, they're quite well outfitted for basically everything.
Look at these
Great
guys.
communication. Oh
Look how
yeah,
shiny
they
his
they
boots
had
are.
multiple weapons on each one of them. They guided us from in front. They had one in the center of the caravan, and they had another one at the rear of the caravan, so that there would be no ambush on the volunteer group. And we went in that way, and we came out that way. At one point, because it was raining and hailing, the wind was literally driving the wind and the hail. I'm sorry, the rain and the hail horizontally. And the volunteers who were sitting in the back of these vehicles had to be moved over. So
Oh
my
my.
vehicle was literally like a clown car with people sitting on top of each other as we
Thanks, Lori.
traverse this really very what I see as dangerous territory. I'm glad that we left when we did, because we would probably be stuck way back in this backcountry, probably even through the night, because it's pretty treacherous.
Wow.
Well, these next pictures may be more of just the on the way there kind of thing, but they were just so
This,
beautiful and Vast
That
is the word that comes to mind.
yeah, this is Sedona,
Sedona.
and
Wow.
I stopped there on the way here for
I can
some
see why.
spiritual
Look at that.
effort.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
so Sedona has a place called the Cathedral. The Cathedral is their number one spiritual place. There's three vortexes that are considered to be very spiritual as well. And so I spent the night right at this location here.
Wow.
And yeah, it's amazing. Photographs just don't do it justice.
That's
But
crazy.
it is, a lot of this is worked on a spiritual level. You couldn't do this kind of work without having that spirituality. And so it's been an interesting trip. Like I said, I have a lot to unload, a lot of photographs, a lot of the evidence that we came across. Nothing directly related to Nancy, but I think that in the big picture is we need to get into this particular area. Now I have GPS coordinates. I
Okay.
can pull up some 3D mapping. I know exactly where the spot is. I know what it's referred to by the local people in the community down here. And we're going to move forward from there if we can. That's
Well,
the big plus.
I think that's what, I know there's a lot of people that are skeptical, but I think the point is that law enforcement has given us what they've given us, which isn't a lot, but that's their prerogative and it should be. They need to keep,
And
the
we
evidence
have to
that's been
work with that.
collected on lockdown. But having said that, if there's leads that a private investigator or anybody else seems to deem possibly credible, I think it's interesting that law enforcement, we saw a clip before you came on of Ashley Banfield talking about this tip. Many other
Oh, really?
broadcasters from mainstream media to legacy media have covered it. It's not just us, but I think we got the more in depth detail of how she would be found, what layers she would be found.
Bill is the real deal.
Please
Please
share.
share his GoFundMe.
We have it. It's on
Oh,
our community
oh, that's
page,
UPG again. Thank you
and it's
very much
also
for
on
that.
his Facebook page. And after the show, please, go over to our community page and you'll find the link. This man is doing this out of his own
There's
pocket,
a lot of pro bono work trying to help find children,
but
and he's taken on this a little bit now in his spare time that he doesn't really have.
and to your point, Bill, and
Mhm.
then in our previous conversations and what Ashley was saying,
Mhm.
Ashley Banfield was and other legacy media and mainstream media and podcasters. Why won't they rule this out? Just rule it out. If it's if
I
it's
have that
if
clip if
it's
you want to play it.
if it's not on the radar, but they keep telling us they want every tip, no matter how small. And this doesn't seem very small. This seems extremely detailed when they're talking about what clothing she will be found in, what layers of wrapping she will be found in, what articles of clothing will be
Specific
missing.
about the blanket.
It's very, very specific. So, when he called back, I know she's been very, rightfully so, close to the vest, what he's shared. Did she divulge anything that you thought was interesting that had not been shared yet that you can share?
Mm, she shared to me at what point he realized that it was an elder woman. This is not something that
It's
even
April.
bad guys typically go after. Um, Elders are revered in Mexico as they are in other countries, and it's not typical for someone of age to lose their life to crime. It does happen, but it's usually not an intentional element. But what he saw, how he's how Ramona says that he's feeling almost like he has remorse and he wants to make it right. The number of calls, the intensity of the calls, how he keeps seeing where they've been and how he keeps narrowing it down and down and down. to a particular location, which I think we're in a really good proximity to that. Unfortunately, my drone could not make the 8-mile trip to that location,
Yeah, that would
but
be
we did get it
special.
up to show. Yeah, we did get it up and show the area adjacent to it, but there are some specific parameters that are there. As far as me joining with this group, I needed to be vetted by the reservation, by the tribal members, the tribal elders,
Okay.
and that's why I was allowed to join this group. Others have been vetted prior to me because they are from the area and they're looking for missing loved ones. But because of the location, it's going to be within the reservation on the southern part of the border.
So can you explain it? Because
And
there's people saying if
Just read
she's
this
believed to be, oh, sorry. First,
from
yes, thank you,
April.
April. And she said, and screw no nuts for saying there's no threat here. He should be the one who's watching out for his safety besides the poor neighbors. April, that's
Yeah.
very true. And thank you, Amy. But there is one person that was up there, Diamond, I think it is. And this is a very good question. She's saying, this is Diamond Girl. Thank you so much. She said, if she was believed to be in Mexico, the feds would have went. No, not sure someone would
no,
drive a body hours away. Can you explain
Well,
if you
that's what's
were coming
striking.
from Tucson? I think there's confusion on how close this is to the border. Now, you did have to hike in, but if somebody had access through the Native American reservation that's there, what is your estimate for how easy this would be to do and how quick it would be?
within about 45 minutes to 1 hour, depending on traffic on Highway 19. Then there's 2 roads that splinter off to that particular area. And then there's actually a dirt road that would take somewhat longer that goes through a U.S. Forest Service
Yeah.
campground that sits in Rio Rico, which we've heard of before, that takes a kind of a back alleyway into the area. So there's actually 3 routes into the location. 2 that will get you in there directly, and it's about 65 miles, I believe, from Nancy's house to
Okay.
that border area. I've done number of calculations. I've driven, I've taken photographs, I've mapped, and so that's a pretty good estimate. But this could be resolved, and there could probably be many death cases resolved simply by having access to this particular area.
Interesting.
And so the group is asking for the government to allow them access through the reservation into their homeland so that they can actually go to this particular area. It's got a very eerie name to it. I'm not gonna repeat it on air. But
Okay.
it is a known area. It's been known for a very long time. The problem's been it's so inaccessible, except to those that need to make that kind of a push, simply because there's no limitations as getting across. In Tijuana or even Mexicali or the California side, it's all walled. They got double walls in some places. It's very controlled. Here, you can simply just walk across. And
Wow.
so it makes it easy. And this guy, I'm sure, is afraid for his safety because he does this for a living. This is what he does for a job. He accepts, bodies, and he, buries them in that area. But he is not. He's not okay with it being an elder woman. He hasn't said he wouldn't have taken the job if he would have known it was an elderly woman. But in that same sentence is, if he didn't accept the job, he could be at risk at that point as well.
Oof.
And so he's putting himself out there. I don't know if he's still in the area. My suspicion is he probably is. We have an idea of age and type of person, and I'm going to suspect it's a Mexican national who's able to go across that border wall area. It's I was amazed. I've been in some pretty interesting areas. I don't know if I had told you, which made it difficult for me is back in August of 2019, while working alongside the U.S. Marshal's Office, looking for two abducted kids out of San Diego. On day 4 of our search, I myself was abducted by a cartel, and they held me from about 12:15 in the morning right up until 7:35 in the morning when they started saying we're just going to kill you. So I made the break for it, and I was able to escape. That's on the that's on the Unsolved Mysteries podcast about the Chin brothers who went missing in February of 2019. They've not been found yet either. Last I heard from the U.S. Marshal's Office, they were asking for an affidavit from me for Interpol because they were looking for them in a particular country in Asia, and that was just recently. So both of these kids, 4 and 6 years old, were not recovered when they should have been quickly recovered, given the fact that they were taken from school, they were taken from a home, all in one swoop. And the guy had also stolen a very large amount of money from an employer, and they were heading to a country in Asia. There was a WhatsApp app text message that the guy sent to a friend indicating that they were stuck in Baja California because their passports were flagged, which is what initiated U.S. Marshal and myself to head down there. And they're suspecting, the U.S. Marshal's Office is suspecting that the encounter I had was driven by the person who took the 2 children. And I hadn't returned there until this search here because I've come pretty close several times, and I didn't want, the next time to be it. And so I'm glad to be back on U.S. soil.
Yeah, jeez.
Really glad. My
Well, we
family and those
appreciate
who know
you.
about this now
Well, we
are as
appreciate
well.
you stopping in to talk to us. And I'm sorry, it's not that I wasn't letting Glenn talk. It's like Bill and I have been discussing the case personally and off camera. And
Why are you saying that?
so because you put the thing up that somebody said, I want to hear what Glenn has to say.
Oh, they weren't
So,
saying it's because I wasn't
well,
saying
no,
it.
I just wanted people to know. Yeah.
When you sent those pictures, I'll tell you what was striking to me that,
Uh-huh.
and I didn't realize this till I saw those pictures, that it's not just the Mexican authorities as we've been told, which I guess it is, but it's not the policia, but it's the National Guard and another group. And you just showed me pictures. I didn't realize the National Guard's there, which is a form of military, the police. So
They are.
this is what's striking to me. Mexico is taking this seriously. We're not.
And they've not been contacted at all. Zero contact by U.S. law enforcement, even just to check out a particular rumor. This holds a lot
Correct.
more weight than just a
Exactly.
rumor.
Not saying that this is where Nancy is. What I'm saying is we need to mark it off the list if we can.
Right.
And they're not doing that. And I
And
don't
what-
understand why they've
and-
marked a lot of other things off the list by going and checking it out, and they haven't done that to this.
And they bounce back and forth on some of those things. It's not always cut and dry. Sometimes, they say no on this. They come back and say, okay, well, we were wrong there, so it's back on. And then sometimes on 1 or 2 occasions, they've, gone off again and said, no, it's not. But I think just given the amount of time that's passed, the amount of the general public that is fascinated and doing things on their own, I think there would be a good possibility that if Nancy's life was taken or if she lost her life and she was buried haphazardly or even just dumped somewhere haphazardly on the U.S. side, there's enough information, enough people that are out there looking. I don't recommend that be the case because there's a lot of things that need to be done. Just like this volunteer group that I worked with here on this effort, they know that they look, they see, they don't touch. They got radios. They call in one of these members of either the forensic or the military or the state police. State police come in. They take over the crime scene, and then they start to
Correct. Yeah.
go through and categorize what they found, and then
Wow.
do the excavation. And forensic people were there with us. I didn't even realize until about halfway into the search, hey, these guys are forensic people, and I've
Wow.
worked with them alongside them before. But these guys are very nonchalant. They keep quiet. They don't say a lot. They're just there for when they're needed. And they were out there searching as well.
So,
And go ahead.
in your professional opinion, this was going to be a big question I wanted to ask you tonight because now I feel like we have somebody that's been there. I mean, everyone says boots on the ground. You're there, you're an American citizen. You're also happen to be a professional private investigator with many, many years of experience. You know what you're looking at. This
Correct.
group and the way they handle themselves is professional, is what you're trying to tell me, I think. But how do you feel
It
like
is.
do you feel like that you had to give them instructions or were they just kind of know what they were doing today?
We met at the Sam's Club warehouse parking lot. Everybody trickled in. Once Ramona was there, she had a meeting, and they already knew the basics. But she went in and she confirmed where we were headed, why we were headed there, what to look for, what not to do, and it was pretty. It was a pretty good briefing. I was really impressed, and the fact that they have no funding. Nobody in the Mexican government funds them. They get no funding from anybody else. And so I'm going to see what I can do to maybe help facilitate some of the stuff that they feel that they need. And, you know, I've made a new group of friends,
That's
and I
amazing.
think they do a really good job.
Yeah,
Well,
because besides Nancy, there's people missing, and what I just heard you say was this is an area where a lot of other cases could probably be solved if we had access.
That's exactly right. Absolutely correct. I would think that the government, either on Mexico's side or the U.S. side, should be willing to facilitate something like that. It could solve a lot of issues, a lot
Wow.
of
well,
missing people.
with this being an American citizen that's missing and potentially on Mexican soil, I don't think that any of us are naive to the fact that that could cause some. There would be a lot of legalities, a lot of permissions that would be need to be given, and maybe proverbial toes stepped on. What would normally the procedure be for something like this if, say, one of us had a family member that we believed was over there? We got a tip that said they're buried there. How would law enforcement normally reach out? Would they just reach out to Ramona? And then how would they normally go about potentially working alongside Ramona to possibly recover a US citizen?
Typically, when law enforcement gets involved from the very beginning, they will usually contact the law enforcement agency most closely tied to a particular area that they want to look at.
Okay.
If it's broader than that, they will usually take it up to a higher level and do a general broadcast to the agencies and then go from there. If it's someone that's disappeared in Mexico and they happen to reach out to me, I will typically let law enforcement know that, hey, we have an American missing. It will go through the U.S. State Department. The U.S. State Department will advise the law enforcement agency in the U.S. that has particular insight on that type of a situation, and then they will activate. There's been numerous times where I've been in Mexico with U.S. Marshal's office. I've been in there with a county child abduction unit. I had one incident where a U.S. Marine had a child. His wife was deemed incompetent because of some mental health issues. She stole the 2.5-year-old from the caregiver, took her into southern Mexico. Well, took her south of Mexico, and I got launched on it, and we went there. I was vetted by the U.S. Marine Corps to be able to escort the father of the child into Tijuana area, and we had the opportunity to do a grab and run, and we literally in the marketplace, something you would see on television, on a TV, on a movie, snatched the child in a farmer's market area in the downtown area, beat feet for the U.S. border, and we're literally waiting for Mexican law enforcement to confront us as the U.S. As the San Diego District Attorney's child unit came into the area and helped us transport the child from from Mexico back into the U.S. And that's somewhat difficult because you do have the Hague Convention for children. I've had U.S. Coast Guard come into the Sea Cortez. We had a Lear jet from the U.S. Coast Guard and a cutter doing searches for Gordon Collins when he went missing in Sea Cortez. So there are a number of things that they can do if they deem that they feel they need to. And personally, with everything I've seen and what's happened here, I think it's deemed in this particular case. And it's not just for Nancy. I mean, yes, that's our driving force in my effort, but there's other families that have
Right.
loved ones that are out there as well, and they want to bring those families home. So there are ways, and I suspect I'll probably get a phone call or two over the next few business days. I'm willing to hand over whatever I have obtained to them.
Thank you.
I suggest that if that gentleman that you said is an expert drone guy, maybe he can contact me. I
Okay.
can kind
I'll
of
get
tell him
him in
what some of
contact with
the
you then.
I think that's
Yeah,
a good
I can.
idea.
Mark.
Mark the
Yeah.
Shark and
Yeah.
you,
And he speaks Spanish too.
and you
So,
both have a
Oh, that's perfect.
spirituality about you. I think they're going to get along
yep.
really well. I was worried about Mark the other night. He was down in the ditches in Tucson. Was that Mark?
Yes.
By
Oh, he's in
himself
Tucson.
at night with a flashlight where
Mark.
they had just found a dead body. And we're like, Mark, what are you doing? He's like, it's okay. I've got help with me. There, you can't see him, or something kind of spiritual thing. And I'm like, yeah, but
I go, well, we don't
Yeah.
want to give fate a helping chance either.
yeah,
So let's,
just keep your camera rolling, please.
I just worry
Yeah.
about you
Well,
guys being out there. I mean, we have friends of ours that are very close friends of ours that have family in that area. And they told us, because we said maybe we should go down. Glenn and I were willing to, put on our boots and get down there. I mean, look, we lived on a ranch. We're not scared of snakes. We're not scared of all that stuff and hard work. Let's do it. And our friends were like, "You're too white." I said, "Okay."
to be
So
in that environment, yes. I mean,
really,
I had two bulls that whatever reason, they liked the way I smell or the way I looked. And so I had to be very careful because there are some outskirts, out in the outskirts there are some cattle ranches. And I was amazed as to how big these animals are.
oh yeah.
It's free range. And
But she
I
just
just
meant
hope
in
I wasn't.
Mexico in general. I mean, on the search, she was saying, "I don't think it's a good idea to go there," is what she was saying for us. But
I would agree with that.
really.
I mean, I would agree with that. There probably would be no problem with you coming down to the gates of the reservation, and maybe if this thing gets moving along, that they would be fine with that. What I learned is that neither the people in Mexico, especially the Nogales area, is what I'm learning, or the indigenous people that have this reservation are very fond of content creators or TikTokers or that type of personnel. And I think there may have been an issue with maybe one or two of them a few days ago when this military or this FBI raid on the reservation occurred. And I've worked on reservations across the country before, and tribal police has the immediate say. FBI, though, is the governing force on all U.S. reservations. This has got a kind of a particular caveat to it because it's actually U.S. to the north and Mexican to the south, but it's the same reservation.
Right.
So I'm going to be pulling a lot of data regarding that, and hopefully this will get somebody to actually move on it because there's no reason why they can't. My understanding is that there is armed troops, or maybe they're FBI in tactical gear, that have been there pretty much the entire time. I also understand that Mexico's government had deployed their regular army personnel to the Mexico side of that particular area. But because we were so far away, I wasn't able to actually confirm that, other than what the guys I was talking with on scene were saying.
Well, what are your instincts at this point as to why the American government hasn't gotten involved? I think a lot of us feel like if they're not getting involved and the
Well,
Fed,
specifically Pima County, yeah,
but specifically Pima County, but
or
also
FBI.
the FBI, the feds. What are your instincts with that? Because I think a lot of us are going, I guess if they're not interested, they know more than we do. Maybe there's nothing to this. Thank you, Kayla.
And that's a good possibility. I mean, there's been several times where law enforcement will say or do something. I get some kind of a direction or evidence or something that leads me on a different path. And I've either located the armored car robber that took the $500,000 and
That one.
found him and brought law enforcement into it, specifically the FBI.
Into
I've
Mexico.
had
That
in
was in
Mexico,
Mexico. Yeah.
in Cabo San Lucas, yeah. And I was working with the Mexican FBI until the U.S. FBI arrived, but they arrived about 20 minutes before the guy beat feet, and Mexico's FBI said, "We can't wait for your FBI." They took off with a rooster tail on their truck and caught the guy and extradited them once the FBI agent got there. And we got him back into San Diego within a couple hours of him being taken into custody. And he
And
was
this
a
was a
simple
case
detour.
where I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. This was a case where the law enforcement didn't think he was there, right? And that you took it upon yourself to search him out.
Yeah,
Okay.
correct. His father had said, my son was a altar boy. I've never raised him to be a thief. If he did it, please bring him back safely. And so I followed leads over about a 3-day period from San Diego into the Tijuana, Rosarita, Ensenada area, bolstered those leads and that evidence, came back to San Diego, then flew to Cabo San Lucas, and it took me about another 3 days before I actually found him in a nightclub. And he had a very distinctive tattoo on his neck, looked just like a Twinkie, full size. And the only guy that was in the bar that I had talked to about the case on the airplane happened to be sitting at the bar. And I said, "Hey, remember that guy?" And he said, "Yeah." I go, "That's him." And he said a few choice words. And I said, "Do me a favor, just keep an eye on him. Don't interact with him. I'm going to go on and call the FBI." In that case, the captain that I was working with out of San Diego PD, he goes, "How did you find him?" I said, "Just, following up on leads." And, there was a certain level of blind luck, but, that was one. The other one was Danielle Van Dam. Law enforcement searched for her for about 3 weeks before I got involved, and that was in the San Diego area. Once I got involved, I told that particular captain again, "This is what I want to do, and I want to report to you," because there was a lot of just dysfunction going on. And the first place I put my searchers to look is where Danielle was found. And
Wow.
again, the captain said, how in the world did you know where to look? And unfortunately, sometimes you've got to put yourself into the mindset of the people that do these
Yeah.
crimes. In that particular crime, it was David Westerfield, and David Westerfield's doing life in prison. And he was a very, very smart guy, holds a number of patents on items. He was an engineer, but he felt that he needed to do that. And there's been others that kind of escaped, but those are the two major cases where law enforcement went a different direction. I followed my path, and we were successful. And there have been others that aren't as dramatic, but we do this because we care.
Yeah.
We have the tenacity. And up until, the Melody Buzzard case in Utah here in November of last year, we had pretty good pockets.
Thank you.
This is about 1,100-mile trip for me just to get to this location
I
from
know.
home.
Please,
And so
please, everybody,
it's tough.
donate to his GoFundMe. He didn't even want it. A lot of his really big fans and former clients encouraged him to put it up to try and raise some funds for helping find Nancy. So again, it's on our community page, and it's on your Facebook, right? On your Facebook page.
It is. It is. And I've never done this before.
I know
I've
you
always been
haven't.
against it.
But your
I've
Facebook
never
page is
taken
Bill
rewards.
Garcia Investigates, or what is your Facebook handle?
Bill Garcia, Investigative Services.
Okay,
Bill
Investigator.
Garcia Investigative Services on
Yep.
Facebook.
Correct.
Perfect. Well, we sure appreciate you updating us on this. I think the last question I really have, unless you can think of another one, is when we heard about the activity happening at the border through the reservation, which is why I even asked her on our last. I think there was too much of a language barrier and trying to communicate through a translator about the reservation, and she goes, "There's no houses there. There's nobody lives there." So I don't think she understood what I was asking. So now that there's government activity in the area near where you were searching, and you're indicating that if the person had legal right to go through the reservation or didn't, as we know, there's a lot of trafficking that goes through there. In fact, we actually talked about an individual tonight. We didn't name him, but he was actually in prison for going through there and human trafficking from Mexico into Arizona illegally. And unfortunately, during that act, he got in an accident and killed I think she was 82 years old woman in a car accident while fleeing Border Patrol. But with the activity there that they were doing with, I guess, trying to build the wall, do you think that were there any feds there? Do you think that there was FBI there? Do you think that there may have been something, if we were conspiracy theorists, to do with?
Not being a conspiracy. Well, unfortunately, I listen to a lot of stuff.
I know.
And sometimes they fall into conspiracy theories. I also subscribe to some of the indigenous tribal stuff. And there was one that came up I think 2 or 3 days ago from the indigenous group there. And they indicated that the people so the tribal elders or the council was advised at 3:58 a.m. that agents were going to be coming onto the reservation. They entered the reservation 2 minutes later, And that advisement was sent by email. So there was nobody that was actually paying attention to their email at 3:58 a.m. 2 minutes later, the front gate is breached,
Thank you.
and they go on to the reservation. And this tribal member who sits on the council indicated that they were FBI agents in tactical gear with SWAT type vehicles, armored vehicles, and long guns. So to me, that's kind of normal. The
Okay.
FBI agent part is typical because that is their territory.
Okay.
But to come in that huge of a contingent just to make sure that subcontractors that are doing soil samples are going to be safe, that's a bit of a stretch. And so this
Soil
is kind of what I'm
samples?
learning. Soil samples. They were there to take like 1 foot to 18-inch deep drilling core samples for the wall that was going to be going up in that area.
Which I guess
To
is
me, that
standard,
sounds
right? Because you used to work with a
be
company like
alone.
that. All right.
Oh, yeah. So to
Interesting.
me, it's a bit unfounded for them to be doing something that, because I've never heard of that happening before. It may have,
Oh,
but for them to come on to a reservation with that kind of impact and then say, "Oh yeah, we're here to protect subcontractors," when they had never had an issue with subcontractors before. So I think a lot of this ties together, but I think the fish that they're going after are a lot bigger than just Nancy.
okay.
And I've actually kind of thought that since early on, just because the way I see this kind of flowing and the way it's traveled
I
and
can see that.
traversed.
There's a lot of people that
Yeah.
feel that way. Yep.
Is there?
Yep. There's a lot of people that feel like this is a little bit bigger than just Nancy Guthrie and Savannah Guthrie, that maybe there's more
Thank
to
you.
it.
Five,
Oh,
fee,
that's
five,
so
fee,
nice of you.
five, fee,
She
five,
said, I
fee.
just went to the GoFundMe, Bill Garcia, and donated. If everyone just chips in a few bucks, feels great that I'm funding the person who can find Nancy Guthrie. Oh,
Yeah, get some gas money.
I mean, exactly. I mean, or I guess fix your car after it being flooded. My goodness. We
Yeah, we
appreciate
broke
it.
your
Thank you
Yeah.
car.
so
Sorry,
much.
Bill.
I don't know
Well,
what's going to happen with that.
you're
At one
you're
point,
doing the hard work. A lot of people are, Alex that was in here a minute ago, Criminal Network. I think he was out there with several other YouTubers. They went down there because they heard about the dispute at the border, that there was something going on. Thank you so much for subscribing. And
TNT, that's cool.
it was a little hairy, and I didn't get to watch when they actually got down there, but I heard that they were asked to leave rather forcefully, if I'm correct. I don't know if he's still in the chat.
that's my
But
understanding.
okay, yeah, that's very interesting. Well, I know you need to get some food and a shower probably and some rest. So thank you so much for taking the time to come and talk with me and Glenn tonight. We hope that you'll want to come back and maybe give us another update if you want to do so. You're always welcome. We are so grateful for everything that you do, not only for Mrs. Guthrie, but also the missing children and other families that you have helped resolve. Either finding a criminal or finding remains. I hope you know from the bottom of our heart, and I think a lot of people in the chat, that what you're doing is amazing, and we know it doesn't come easily without the sacrifice of your own family and your time, but also probably a bit of your spirit.
Yeah, but I have to say that you're one of the few groups that I actually respect and appreciate what you're doing
Wow,
to
thanks.
kind of continue the conversation on this case, because if there was no conversation, there would be nobody even realizing that Nancy was still missing. And so until we bring her home, I appreciate you being there, and I understand you will be coming out to this area, and I want you to be safe, both of you. And it's going to be quite an adventure. It really
Well, we're
will be.
hoping we can meet up with you. So yeah, we'll see you soon in September in the Tucson area, at least on that side, not the other side.
Yeah.
So
Well, hopefully, I'm not still sitting here in this parking lot.
We'll come get you.
we'll come get you. Yeah, we'll send reinforcements, for goodness sakes. Well, take
You,
care. Let us know when you get in. Okay. We just appreciate you. Thanks so much.
I will. You guys have a great night.
You
You too.
too.
Good night, Bill.
Bye.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
I just thought he was going to check in and not be able to tell us anything because earlier speaking to him, it sounded like that he didn't really want to talk too much after what he and Ramona were talking about. So
Not to mention he was caught in a flash flood that was like
yeah,
incredible. I don't think he could even see out of his.
but again, I'm not sold that Nancy's down in Mexico. It's just this person that continues to contact Buscando Corazones is very adamant, and they field a lot of calls, and they flush out the ones that aren't real. Normally, they're very good at what they do, and they have found multiple bodies, 25 in just the last few months of missing people across that same area. So I just want Nanos or FBI or someone to go down there and say, "Told you, there's nothing here," because they have a way of getting that 8-hour trek in better than just normal citizens on the ground. And I'm
Well,
really, I was struck by how serious Mexico's taking this
well,
still right now.
I think the thing that struck me was that he said, they had to take the legal way in, which was the 8.5 hour trek. But and maybe the person that did this was also legally allowed to go through that reservation area. But it sounds like if you were illegally going through there, it would be a 45-minute drive from Nancy Guthrie's,
I'd like
which
to
was very
play.
interesting.
This is actually clip one, but it's the Banfield. It kind of ties into Ashley Banfield. She did an hour show back in June about the Buscando Corazones group, and she had a lot of experts on. And I recommend going to Ashley Banfield's site. Look back like June 10th, I think.
Well, and she did one recently with
Yeah.
the was he former sheriff?
Yes.
Yeah, former sheriff of Pima County. And
I don't know. He's the former
was he under sheriff or
yeah, or what they call the chief deputy.
But yeah, he worked with
Nanos.
Chris Nanos, and he just said it on, I think it's only like one or two shows ago of hers, that it's towards the end. He said, "I don't know if you want my theory," and she's like, "Of course." And he says that he feels like they may have taken her to Mexico, and it would be an easy way to keep her alive for a couple of days if we're going with the theory that there was, a financial gain here and possibly ransom. So I thought it was interesting that he said that, and he thought it was weird that Pima County wasn't checking into it.
But I took this hour-long podcast of hers or live stream. No, it wasn't live, it's a video. And I put it down to 3 minutes of just the part that, because the rest of it is, I want you to go watch it on her channel on your own. But I just wanted to
Right.
take these 3 minutes. It tells you what was issued by the sheriff's department, their official statement, which is on their X account. And
You played it in the intro a little bit, but for people that didn't
yeah,
watch
well,
that,
I mean,
yeah,
no one's here yet.
right.
So here it is again. If you
People.
if you do hang out in the pre-party, you get to see it again.
Yeah.
Is there no sound?
Hold on.
The group is called the Buscando Corazones Nogales group, and they have had huge successes in the past to the tune of finding 25 different unmarked graves in just one area. And wouldn't you know it, they are the ones who got a tip. I think you're probably going to scream into your pillow when you hear the comment from the Pima County Sheriff's Department. But this particular group got a tip, and it was specific. They haven't released everything, but they said there were enough specifics in the tip to suggest that Nancy Guthrie is buried in an area southwest of Nogales, in an area called Mariposa, and that is a butterfly in English. And the group went and began searching and didn't go alone. They got a lot of help. They got help from the government. So this is bigger than just some random group heard something from someone and went to sniff around. It was a lot more than that. They, in fact, got help from the Sonora State Commission for the Search of Missing Persons, and they also got municipal and state officials backing them up with security. They have found upwards of 25 unmarked graves, but it just didn't seem like there was much communication between the two countries. And that seems to be the case again, because here's the comment from Pima County, from the Sheriff's Department. They didn't even know about it. That's where we're at. They didn't even know about it. This is the comment that the Pima County Sheriff posted publicly on the X account. We're aware of reports regarding an anonymous tip related to the Nancy Guthrie investigation that was provided to a group in Mexico. At this time, we have not been contacted by Mexican authorities. Where's the next line saying, but we reached out to Mexican authorities? That's not in here. There's no mention of that. I don't even think it's happened. I don't know if it's happened, but they certainly haven't mentioned that that happened. They just said they didn't call us, so here's a post on X. This investigation remains active and ongoing, and we will continue to follow up on any credible information. But how about following up on something that the Mexican government thinks is important enough to support?
Wow.
I think she's right. Like, that's what struck me too, is that Mexico's taking it seriously enough that they've got their authorities, the police department, the National Guard, and that other unit that they have down there to give them security. And then we found out just now, something he just mentioned, we just kind of didn't even talk about it. They have their forensic team there to take over when they find bodies. So I don't know.
It's crazy.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, we're trying to read stuff in the chat as much as we can, and the ones that pop on screen, that helps, but that's not required by any means. So we will read over the super chats though, because we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Real
Thank you,
quick,
Jen and
Aquarian.
Glenn, for your efforts in helping find Nancy. Oh my gosh, Aquarian One, thank you so much. That's very
And
generous
we
of you.
noticed that a lot of the names in here in Aquarian One, I see you in here a lot, and we really do appreciate all of you guys.
I appreciate all the support. Just the likes and subscribing helps us a lot. From Ina Dog Mom, Jen and Glenn, you both are awesome. It's a rockin' show. You ask all the right questions. Thank you for what you do. Love, Bill Garcia. Thank you so much. What a nice compliment. We're still new. We're still trying to figure things out. So we're just, 8 weeks in now? Are we on our 8th week or are we still on our 7th week?
No, the third will be.
Yeah, the third will be 2 months. RHI designed. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. She said, sent the email. I promise, take a deep breath. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, we read April's. That's funny. And screw no nuts for saying there's no threat here. I know he really should check it out. Bill is the real deal. Please share his GoFundMe, and it's FYFE1. Thank you so much. Yes, it's on our community page, and if you look at it, you'll see we talk about Bill Garcia and have a link to his
Less than a minute.
Facebook. But his Facebook is Bill Garcia. He said it. Investigate.
Bill Garcia, Investigative Services.
Investigative Services. Thank
I
you.
may try to find it, and I'll put it back in the.
Yeah. Thank you so much, and thank you for that other super chat.
My husband could solve a Rubik's Cube in less than a minute.
Sleepy Panda.
I
JMO.
can't. Not even close.
No. You don't need to give names. Those who follow you and other YouTubers know. Stay safe. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. And then I know some of you have had some questions, in the chat, and let us focus on Mexico and forget all the crazy theories.
While
Love
we
Jones.
still have, almost 1,900 people in here. It's
Wow,
bounced
thank you so
between
much, everybody.
2,200, 1,900. We do need to let everyone know that we are going to Tucson.
Yep, we are.
We're leaving probably Thursday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. We'll be there by Sunday, Monday.
The point is we'll be there the week of the 7th. So, yep.
And we've got some interviews that we're trying to set up. So, and we think you're going to be surprised.
You're going to be surprised. We already have at least one interview confirmed today. We also have a local Tucsonan who is trying to get us some other interviews with some locals that are not, that are a little bit different perspective. Let's put it that way. And we're very grateful to Mr. Tucson is what we call him, because he wants to remain anonymous, for helping us out with that. That's very kind of you. and we appreciate all your support. So, and all of you that have done super chats and likes and subscribes, we really, really keep. I just hope you know how much we appreciate all of your support, encouragement, the encouragement we just get in emails of just keep going and don't worry about the
Yeah.
glasses. That was one of
Thank you,
them.
Cordelia.
But thank you, Cordelia. I just hope you all know how grateful we are for supporting our new channel, supporting what we do, and supporting Glenn's amazing producing on here all the
So
time and
Major
effort.
Rammer Jammer just said that
Thank
he
you,
wants
Jules.
to give away a mug because we hit 800 likes.
Oh my gosh.
Please hit the like button. We need to hit 1,000.
We did. It
Oh,
says
we did?
1,041 likes.
Oh,
That's
where have I been?
awesome.
It says we hit
I don't
800.
know. Yeah, no, this is awesome. I think
That's
you're behind in
awesome.
the chat, maybe.
That really appreciate that.
Thank you so
But
much,
having
Major.
said that, I couldn't find it. Here it is. We have our website, tbxunfiltered.com, tbxunfiltered.com. This is saying to go there and hit the after party button after the party here. But if you go in there at the very bottom, tonight's the last night to enter for this week's drawing for free merch. Maybe more than one winner. So you have very good odds. But go in there, scroll down to the bottom and enter your information to enter to the giveaway. And do anything else you want in there. Go in the chat, do whatever you want to in there. But wait till the party's over here. So let me get back to us. And that's all I've got for tonight. And what about you, Jen? Oh, we got to do the feels.
Yeah, well, somebody said I was talking over you. I apologize. I don't mean to talk
Why do
over
people
you.
keep saying that? I haven't heard you talk over me one
I
time.
think it's that I think you're done. You do a lot of pregnant pauses. Our relationship, we've been, first of all, we were friends for 3
You
years
got to
before
learn
we
what the
started.
pregnant pause is for.
Well, we were friends for 3 years before we even started dating.
She's not interrupting me.
No, I am.
See my hand
but
here? I'm going like,
He does.
that's how I tell her when I want to say something.
He sometimes
You can't
taps my
see.
thigh.
If the camera was ever down lower, well, I'm not going to
He's like, I have something to say. So it's hard when you're a married couple and knowing the pregnant pauses and when to
Yeah.
like, wait a minute, I've got something to say, but
I finish her
always have
sentences
something to
all the
say.
time.
Well, I appreciate
I
you.
appreciate you too.
And I don't want anybody to think that I'm ever not letting you talk. I promise. I will say though, are you going to tell people now without me saying it first
I don't know what
about the talking on the show in general?
Can I get a word out? No, what are you saying?
What do you tell me? Almost every show.
To let me say some stuff.
Okay, now he's messing with you.
I've got so much going on here trying
I'm gonna
because
smack you on
our
live
whole
television.
idea here is that we don't want to be hokey, but we want to have what feels like a produced show. So it requires, if Adam's in here, he knows he's got a produced show. Like to go and show clips and have the
Let me
stuff.
get a word.
It's I don't know. You take some brain power. So a lot of times I'm over here and I know she's about to ask for a clip or something. I got to know where it is and put it on. I don't have
So
a
what do you
producer
tell
sitting
me?
back there. Please take the show and let me do this part of it.
So it's not my fault.
I mean, not 100%. I like to, give you my 2 cents also, but I like reading the chat blows me away every time. I read a lot of chats. Patriot Pride has a really good one. Mark the Shark, all of them have really good chats. This one is good too. Like our chat has a really smart people in it. But listen, we're not looking for yes people. I see your complaints
No.
on there and disagreements and all that. That's what this is about.
Kinda
Please,
smacked
if you don't
somebody the other
agree, say that too.
And we don't mind it. I mean, she let me have it. Not once. She let me have it 3 times. And I was like, okay, finally, I'll bite. I'll bite. And I will tell you what I think about your comment about how dumb I was on the blood spatter expert
That was from a
show.
place of love though.
It does because I get it. People are
right.
extremely, extremely passionate about this. And they're very, very upset about how a lot of it seemingly has been
That major
handled. Do we know that it was handled improperly for sure? It doesn't look great. It doesn't look good at all. Your brother-in-law even said it looks like amateur hour. But do we know that it's a total fail? No. It feels like a fail. It's been, almost 7 months. But she was saying that she went off. And fine. I took the bait and I let her have it back. And somebody said, I think you just You just got your arse handed to you, and it was kind of funny. So, I think I don't mean to hand somebody's arse back to them. It was more, look, if a family member has been cleared, and I think a lot of us want to believe that family had zero to do with this. We absolutely want to believe that. Having spoken to numerous law enforcement officials that are either retired or currently involved, or FBI, I've spoken to 4 of them. It's very unusual to clear people before somebody has been brought into custody. Your brother-in-law said that. Multiple other people have said that. Now, the caveat to that was what your brother-in-law said. They have cleared persons of interest publicly, and it's been with a press conference. And they do a press conference saying why the person was cleared. And it's usually digital evidence or other striking evidence, where they say this person is no longer on our table, on the radar. Having said that, what I said to the person was, where's the FBI? They haven't come out with a press conference and said, these people are cleared. And that's anybody that's been detained, looked at, researched, any of that. They haven't done that, and then Pima County does this weird, ping pong, cleared, not cleared, cleared, not cleared. Well, we don't know. If somebody comes and says it's a family, then maybe we'll look at them again. What? That's not cleared then.
No.
So, and according to your brother-in-law, that's not cleared. When they clear somebody, they're out. And it's because there's absolutely no way, no how
Look at this
they could
cute,
be involved.
cute person. Look at
Thank
that.
you, expose.
How did they make that?
She is so nice. She comes on and really compliments and
Uh-oh, someone just gifted some memberships.
oh, thank you so much, Sharon. That was so nice
Oh
of
my
you.
goodness. Thank you for doing
Wow.
that.
Thank you so much.
And
So anybody that received memberships, it's a random thing that YouTube does. So when somebody gifts them, they randomly give them out. So if you received a membership just now,
you
thank
get to see
Sharon.
some of our our members only videos and stuff. So this is important. Major Rammer Jammer has just picked his winner. Connie,
Awesome.
please email us at tips@tbxunfiltered.com to claim your mug. I will send you back a link, and
Yep.
you literally just go click the mug, and
We don't
pays
get
for
your
shipping
address
and
or
everything.
any
You
of
don't
it.
pay for
Yeah.
anything. And that is not the giveaway from the after party website. So tbxunfiltered.com, click after party, scroll down, enter your information to give that giveaway. And that is a totally separate one that we'll be doing. I'll probably do it later tonight, give people a chance to go over there and hang out. And
Glenn also designed our website. We are very fortunate that I have a techie husband that knows how to do things, and techie sons. Thank you, Jesus, Mary,
well,
and
I'm
Joseph.
rolling out a new page,
So, because
but
I'm
not
not very
tonight.
techie, I'm pretty good, but some stuff I'm not. I do the graphics. So, oh, thank you so much, Brian. Thank you so much.
Tonight
That's
was
really
the first
nice.
Oh, thank you.
So anybody that
Uh-oh.
received confidential clearance ones.
Whoa.
Wow, thank you so much, Brian. That's really nice
Brian,
of
you
you.
get to see all the membership only videos. We're about to start doing some lives for the top level membership. Whoa, another one.
Oh my gosh, thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much.
RHI
And then
Design.
the top level, the confidential one, you also get 10% off merch if you want a hat, mug, shirt. There's some funny new shirts on there. You
Right.
should go look at the merch site.
Oh my gosh,
What
Holly
is going
Dolly too.
on?
Wow, thank you so much. That's so nice of you
God,
guys.
thank you.
Wow, this is amazing. Look at Brian's comment. Tonight, me first with Jen and Glenn. Oh my gosh, thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Brian. So real quick, there is going to be a way to track our journey,
I'm so excited about what you did for this. And
but I'm not rolling that out tonight to
this
show it yet because I'm still working on it.
this isn't just going to be a road trip and what we're doing. We're going to be taking you on some very interesting, how do I explain it?
Jen's a big history nerd.
I love it. This
So
isn't history
we cannot
class.
drive
though.
through a town without learning about every person that's ever lived there, starting 200 years ago, if the town's that old. Going west, the town's getting younger and younger, by the way, so until you get past Arizona. So on the trip, you'll be able to follow us on an interactive map from a page on the website. And as we go through, Jen's going to do research while we're driving. We'll do some lives on the road.
Yeah.
We'll make some videos to download also that you can watch on YouTube through the website if you need to. And then every time we make a stop, they'll show up on the website as a stop, and there'll be all kinds of information you can go refer to there if we're not already live.
Yep.
So all kinds of interactive stuff on that.
I'm really
page.
excited to do it because there's some interesting mysteries along the way, some ghost stories if you want to call it that. There's some really cool things that I think I used to do it on a much I guess a more
Dana, the
juvenile
answer is
level.
no. You won't get.
Like when you get no, we don't do that.
We talked about that before we started
From
this.
rich
We'll
princes.
never sell an email list.
No.
You'll only get a monthly newsletter by entering the giveaway or getting on there for just the newsletter if you don't want to do the giveaway. And maybe an email every once in a while if it's an emergency, like, I don't know, Nancy Guthrie case hits a really major thing that we need to get online for. We may shoot an email out to the group that way, but nothing else. I know, I hate getting
What?
15 emails.
No,
for
that's
something.
ridiculous. No. And then somebody said that Bill was trying to talk. I guess they're behind in the show. Did we interrupt Bill? Did I interrupt Bill?
Who's Bill?
Garcia.
Bill Garcia. No, it's when
hope
you're running a
not.
show and you've got time limits, you have to sometimes steer a guest a little bit. If you've ever done this, it's pretty
We're
complicated.
still learning. I mean, I'm not
You're
a journalist.
in SOS Seekers of
Thank you so
Spirits.
much.
Hey, SOS Speakers of Spirits. I love that.
I will say that I'm not a journalist. He's not a journalist. We've never done this before. And
We
if
just
your
play
husband,
one on YouTube.
Yes. So we may interrupt people once in a while, and it's not on purpose, I promise. And it's not trying to be rude. Sometimes it's hard. The feed sometimes is an issue too. So we try to make it so that it's on time, and he may not hear us or see us very well. So, and then vice versa. So I apologize if
So Sunshine and Waves.
we have it.
We have the Starlink Mini mobile. We have tethering abilities. We have a little generator, battery backup. We're gonna try to take our show basically on the road. Now, is it gonna look like this with the background? No. But we are setting
this
up
is
some
real, by the way.
interviews in Tucson. Thank you, Karen. And
Thanks.
we're trying to figure out, but there may be a panel interview. It depends how it works out. We've already talked to some very interesting people that
We're
are
excited.
Tucsonians,
Tucsonans.
live there a long time, have careers that you're going to be very interested to hear what they have to say. And some of them you already know. So we're very surprised and humbled by some of the people that
Very.
have agreed. And, as usual, we're going to keep it classy and professional and try to keep it as produced as we can while we're on the road. But
It's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit different. And it may be that we're not good at it. Maybe this will be the last
You
one.
may not see us for a week till we get
You
back.
may not see us on the way back, but we're going to be hanging our
It'll be
heads
one
in
of those,
shame. But
with the camera sticking out the front of the vehicle the whole time.
the note on the back of the typewriter, somebody just asked, I think it's I Am Baby Cakes too, it says unfiltered and unapologetic, which is kind of our tagline. So,
And I'm sorry about that.
but we still apologize.
These ways to make your studio look good is in these more expensive lenses and cameras. The more blurred the background, the better. The more focused your face and blurred the background, apparently the better. I'm trying to do a happy medium here, but yeah, you cannot read the dang thing and the sign up there. It's just it's a struggle.
It's fine.
But whatever.
I mean, you can't have it all, right?
No.
You can't have a wife that doesn't talk too much. You can't have a husband
Whatever.
that talks enough that you don't look like an idiot. So anyway, I think you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for all your support. And so I do have one thing before we go to the feel goods. And if you're just joining us and you've never seen our show, we talk about a lot of really heavy, dark things. I always like to end it on a good note. But before we do that, I thought this note from one of our viewers was very, very important to read. I thought it was very well written. And I think a lot of you probably feel just like her. And the room, what did they say? Hold on. We have a super chat that just came in real quickly.
No, this is your note.
Oh, no, right there.
Oh,
Safe travels and prayers. And who is that from?
Holly Dolly.
Holly Dolly,
Love
thank you so much. We really appreciate that. Yeah, be sure and hit the like and subscribe, guys. And yes, I want to read this note to you real quickly. So she said under one of our shows, she put a comment, and her name is Patty, and she said I had permission to read it. And so this is Patty C-K8Q, posting this here because it needs to be said. Feel free to share. Dear Savannah, your grief is real, and no one disputes the horror your family is living through. People across the country have followed your mother's case out of genuine care for her. Many have invested heart, time, and attention into trying to understand what happened. Because the information released has been inconsistent, the public has been trying to make sense of it all. We all want to bring her home. That's why your recent message felt painful to many of us who have been trying to support you, and I wanted to share that gently and honestly. You spoke about quote unquote good people, kindness, and needing good to be stronger than evil. Those words were heartfelt. But in the very next breath, you condemned anyone following the case for quote unquote entertainment or profit, calling them quote unquote part of the harm. You offered no clarity on who you believe is good or evil. You simply cast blame on the entire public, the same public you have repeatedly asked for help, visibility, prayers, and engagement. The tone was not just harsh, it was dismissive, accusatory, and ungrateful towards people who have carried your mother's story when institutions failed you. These are individuals who have prayed for you, amplified your voice, and kept pressure on the investigation. They do not deserve to be spoken to as though they were contributing to the problem. And there is a contradiction here that cannot be ignored. You have made an absurd amount of money during your long, successful career reporting on tragedies involving other families, stories that rely entirely on public attention. You benefit from the same engagement ecosystem you suddenly decided to condemn. The public you depend on professionally is the same public trying to support you personally, and your message pushed them away instead of acknowledging their care. Yes, a tiny minority online behaved badly. That is true in every tragedy. But your plea did not target that minority, it targeted everyone. Most creators make unavoidable pennies from platform payouts they cannot disable. They are not exploiting your mother's suffering. They are participating in the same media structure you participate in every morning on national television. And then you escalated even further, encouraging their arrest, calling for people to lose their freedom simply for discussing your mother's case is extreme and deeply disturbing. These are people who have only ever tried to help, and they were spoken about as if they were criminals. You divided the entire conversation into quote unquote good people and quote unquote evil people. And you made it clear you only want help from the side you approve of. That leaves the public, the same people who have carried your mother's story, wondering where they stand and whether their support is still welcome. So the real questions become, what help do you actually want and from whom? I don't have words about how powerful that was, at least to me reading it this morning or this afternoon. Thank you so much for writing that. I think you are going to find that a lot of people echo that exact statement, maybe not as eloquently as you put it, but absolutely the emotion felt in it. It was very well said. That's what I said. Amen, Patty. Thank you. Exactly. You said it in such a way that expressed the absolute unaccounted for grief that I think a lot of us feel for her, as we feel for many missing victims that we hear
Thank you, Love
about.
Jones.
We don't know these people. Thank you so much, Love Jones. That's really complimentary. I really appreciate that. I think there's so many of us that feel this grief, and we call it America's grandma on our channel. It's who does this to somebody who was supposed to spend her final days in a home that she'd grown with children and grandchildren, and the last home she had with her husband who passed away. And it's unfathomable. And then to, in the same breath, hear from one of those family members as if they're not grateful for Bill Garcia, for, the YouTubers that were just out there yesterday and the day before. And currently there's some that we don't even know about. There's channels we don't even know about that we hear through other people that we're like, we don't even know who this person is, but they're out there searching. And then there's people at home that are homebound. Some of them write us. Some of you are professionals that have full-time jobs that barely have time for your own families,
Wow.
but you're doing your own research. You're
Look at
doing your own
everybody's
time. Yeah.
involvement.
I mean, I think, Patty, you spoke for volumes of not only YouTubers, YouTube channels that have been following the case, but you've been speaking to the people that maybe don't even write in our chat and just listen. But
Oh, I like this one. I echo it 100 times.
I mean, thank you so much, Patty, for writing that. I think it was a very,
I don't see Esmeralda in here, but thank you. Last show, I was watching it back and I saw her chats and some of the things she was saying, and I know she bought some merch too. I saw that. And
thank you
just
so much, Esmeralda.
she'll
We
probably
really
watch it in
appreciate it.
replay and just want you to know we notice everything you say and we agree. So same kind of thing.
Yeah, sharp language, but not in a vulgar way. The open door moderator said that's exactly it. And I think, that's what Glenn and I have been trying to say this entire time is that, look, we get it. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of, sharp tongues that fly. But yes, Alex, that was awful. She called and got you arrested. Thank you for caring so much about Nancy. That's exactly right. I think that we've all felt extreme anger from this for a lot of reasons. Extreme anger that an elderly person was taken out of her home. Extreme anger on the opposite end that her family doesn't seem to be out looking for her. The problem is thank you, Daniel, for subscribing. We don't know what's going on. We don't know that law enforcement isn't telling them to lay low because they could be a target. We don't know that family friends of the Guthries aren't being told the exact same thing. The problem is the curb appeal of this case is lacking. It doesn't look good. The optics don't look good. And
all Alex
she
does when
voiced
he's
that.
out there is he has, how Mark the Shark does
ridiculous.
really wonderful drone work.
Mm-hmm.
Alex is the best. I don't know if he's using his cell phone or what, but he gets the right angles for me. I think everybody has a way they like to view things. I don't know, but every time Alex has his camera out, even if he's just sitting there talking to people around a cooler, it's the best angle, shot, clarity. I don't know what he's doing, but the other night he was out there in the rain with his camera just pointed right at the
You were
house.
telling me about it. I think
I still refer to that thing. There's so many things to look at in that, just the vegetation in front of the home, the grade of the driveway. I didn't realize all that because everybody else, there were so many cars and all these things and flying around, and then just silence, a little bit of rain to kind of take the your senses down a notch from trying to go, what am I seeing? What am I seeing? To just, oh, it's nice and raining, and I don't know.
Yep.
He's got a talent for the camera work for sure.
Well, I just think that, I don't care what kind of YouTuber you are, whether you're the ones that do it from home or you're the ones actively out there searching. I just want you to know that the rest of us are appreciative. I mean, Glenn and I have been watching. She deserved better, 100%. So do the missing children. So do the missing family members we get families that even call us and start off by saying, please understand that my family member was not the best human being, but they didn't deserve to not be found.
No, and I
And
feel
that's
like
what it's about.
I feel like Nancy is kind of a spokesperson, if you will,
Thank
in
you,
a
Brooke.
strange way for all the missing people right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're focused on Nancy, but maybe we're just kind of sharpening our skills a little bit. And behind the scenes, like Jen and I, we're working on other things too. There's other people that are missing. There's some very interesting cases out there that we're going to be bringing up eventually. And I wish that they just would find Nancy tomorrow. She'd come home and be ready for Thanksgiving and Christmas, but I don't think that's in the cards now.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that, but I'm not going to be Sheriff Nanos and say, what good does it say? I think it does a lot of good that we all get real, we all come together, and we don't let this be forgotten, because forgetting about Nancy is forgetting about all the other people that are missing.
That's exactly right.
And I think about them every day.
Yep. Well said.
Yeah.
That's absolutely right. Well, we can't thank you enough. And thank you for the podcasters that joined us tonight. I saw Boomer. I saw Criminal Network. I saw Patriot Pride. Thank you so much for supporting our channel.
Please
I
go
also saw
watch theirs too,
Mabs.
for sure.
I don't know. I think we saw Pretty Little Clues stopped in, Mark the Shark. Is there somebody I'm forgetting? I'm sure there is. Guys, I didn't see the chat the whole time. So
Me
if you
too,
were
Debbie.
here and I know that, I know that Crime Crunchy said she was going to be watching. I don't know if she
She
ended
was
up.
in earlier. I saw
She
her.
was good. Awesome. We're so thankful for all of you supporting our little channel here. And, we're so new, we're still learning things, but you all have really come through and have really supported us, and we really appreciate it. I survived. Now let's just see how powerful our constitutional rights are. That's very true.
Yeah.
That's what we hope. The justice system has its kinks, but overall, I think all of us hope that it does what it's supposed to do. So I hope that it works out. What happened with you? All of this is just ridiculous. I've been following this case from the beginning. Dee Weeble, thank you so much. Often talked about with my mom, mostly so she would be aware of her. I'm sorry, it went away too fast. That wasn't our fault. It just timed out. Sorry. I wasn't reading fast enough.
To make that longer.
Aware of her surroundings, praying so hard for an end to this case. My mom died 2 weeks ago.
Oh, goodness.
I'm so sorry, Dee Weeble. My goodness. Our prayers are with you and your family. My goodness. And I think it's just life is weird. It's like we're all watching this, and but there before the grace of God go we
So
and our
sorry to hear
family
that.
members. I'm so sorry. Apology. She has other things that are traumatic she's dealing with. Well, that's very nice of you, but
That's taking the high road, Alex, and
yep.
I agree to do that.
I'm
But
I'm still wondering, Alex, not on specifically on the arrests. I still smell a rat. And I don't think it's a Nanos rat. I think they were trying to get you guys out of there intentionally and not for the reason, hold on to hers for a second, that we think, which is she could be just a jerk, maybe her persona that she shows on the Today Show is just that. It's a persona that she shows on the Today Show. Maybe it's not real. I don't want to believe that, but if that's the case, then so be it. But part of me really feels, and I know I've said that on here before, so if you haven't heard me say it, I'll say it again. Part of me wonders if that was intentional because of who the perps are and their personality. And maybe their personality is such that wants fame and attention. And that's why they did this in the first place. And being able to see what their craft is what I'm calling it over and over again. Bonnie, you're going to have to wait. Maybe was enticing to them and for lack of a better term, titillating, I guess, and maybe getting rid of that live feed being there on a regular basis is something that strategically the FBI wanted to see what would happen and see if they just show up. By they, I mean the perps, like having to see it. And maybe that's the chef, as Dr. Bricado calls it. Condolences to Dee Weeble. We're so sorry. So I missed Inner Strengths. What did she say? I told you to hold on to it.
Well, I can't.
I
That's
know.
not how it works.
Well, what was it? Can you tell me?
She said, Glen's awesome. Jennifer needs to be quiet more often.
She did not. Did she really?
Did
Did she really?
No. That would be something
Yes,
she would do, though.
And ended his day the same. Very beautiful. So DGL.
I think that's a
Dad's
different
Gone Live.
What?
What about Dad's Gone Live?
I don't know.
I'm sorry if we missed it. Sorry. Oh, when in Arizona every day
Oh, you found
with a prayer in front of Nancy. Yep.
Mm-mm.
Bill said he did that too. I think a lot of us are saying a lot of prayers for
God,
her
look at
and
the
that,
chat. What's
just
going on?
please show us where you are. Let us just get you home. There's a lot of people out there searching.
Welcome, Samantha.
And if that's, something that Nancy can do from heaven, then show these people where you are so we can bring you home. Thank you, Samantha, so much for subbing. We really appreciate it. Well,
Wow.
thank you so much. We have a feel good now.
Yeah, I forgot.
You guys aren't going to believe what I captured. I know I always show our wildlife because I enjoy it. It's probably an old people thing, but I've been doing it since I was 10. So I love wildlife and I like what we have around here. And I feel like it just makes you kind of feel good. And It's so cute seeing all of these different wildlife interacting together, and it kind of makes me laugh. So, and just, aw. Glenn, just tell her you know she's the boss, just like you like the boss, at least in public.
Look, this is the fountain.
This is our fountain in our front yard. And we kept trying to figure out why our fountains were going low. Like, how is this possible? Well, I think we got our answers.
I have to turn up the timer.
Music. Can anybody hear the music a little bit? So this is the Hay Goods. They gave us the rights to this music. They're out of Branson, and us being in the Ozarks, we wanted a little bit of an Ozark touch. This is our window in our kitchen. This is our little banquette in our kitchen. And Glenn was eating here lunch earlier, and he's just looking on his iPad, and I go, "Are you going to look out the window?" And he was like, "What?" And that's not this. I caught this when I was getting dinner last night. But there was a doe just drinking out of the fountain again while he was eating. Yeah.
That's a buck. You saw a doe later.
I think he's still got a little. Is there velvet on that? A little bit.
Yeah,
a little bit of velvet. Yeah, he was so cute.
This
He didn't
explains
care
so
that I was
much.
staring at him.
I wonder our water bill is so high right now.
We don't have one. We're on a well. He's beautiful though, isn't he? He's so cute. And then he was like, "Okay, I'm done." And he walked off, trying to navigate those rocks. Oh my gosh, so funny. Sorry, I went by our screen, not as clear. And then what I didn't catch on the camera is the hummingbirds were going back and forth from the hummingbird feed. I mean, it was like something out of Disney. It was so cute.
Look at it.
Isn't he cute? Oh, tomorrow, 2 p.m., Boomer Investigates is having Monks live with him. Awesome, Boomer. That's fantastic. So, and then this is hilarious, you guys. Look how big this turkey is. This was today. This was the buck was yesterday, but this was this afternoon. And I'm like, I'm glad we could help.
Was he drinking out of the fountain too?
Yes.
Gotta be kidding.
No, it was so hilarious. They're not the most attractive animals on the planet, which is, I think, why they lost the vote. I think it was Ben Franklin that actually suggested that the wild turkey be the American symbol. And somebody went, no. I think we'll do the eagle. So, they're not the cutest things on the planet, but they are funny. Did you put the other one? Do you have the other one that I had with all of them in the yard?
That's for next.
Oh, shoot. Okay, well, you guys will have to look at the other one. It's so cute. So I'll give you a little teaser. There was turkey with the deer all just hanging out. So but anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. Thank you so much to all the YouTubers and the channels that have supported us. And, you know, we appreciate all your content. We appreciate all your hard work.
Yeah.
Most importantly, we appreciate the camaraderie and the unilateral support of each other.
What I'm doing tomorrow at 2 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern time. So that's 1 p.m. our time? Yeah.
Yes.
So 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern.
Boomer
Monks is on
10231.
live with Boomer.
Thank you so much.
That's incredible.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'll have to watch that. But we're just really appreciative of, I'm just a channel hopping Anthony? Hoping?
He's talking to Anthony.
Oh,
It's
that's
bringing out all
funny.
the extras.
Well, thank you. Oh, I saw Jaylene's in the chat. I saw Zanea's in the chat.
Yep.
I saw True BU, Patriot Pride. I'll be there, Boomer.
We should
Awesome.
have a watch party for the end tomorrow.
That's
And then it comes on right after. Well, not right after, but you break for dinner, intermission,
Yeah.
and you get to watch Patriot Pride.
You guys, thank you so much. And yeah, Patriot Pride was the first channel to give us a chance and have us on our inaugural show, which if you didn't see it was don't see it. I'm so embarrassed. But I think we've learned a lot since then.
I'm erasing that one.
But it was January 3rd. Thank you, Mike and Adam, for being patient with
Morning, Seattle. If you can feel I can heal.
Nobody knows what that's from unless
There's a
they're like
Frasier fan in here that knows what that is.
unless they're Frasier fanatics. So anyway, thank you for joining us for 3 hours again. Apparently, we can't do a 2-hour
It's
show.
2:59 and 45 seconds every time. We're gonna go over tonight.
We've tried. We can't do it.
Jaylene, Jen.
Anyway, thanks so much, Mark the Shark, for joining us.
Yeah,
You're
we'll be talking
awesome.
to you. We're gonna
I'll
be in
get you.
Tucson.
I'll get you hooked up with Bill connected. So the two of
Hey,
you
Sharon.
connected. Thank you,
Oh,
Sharon.
wow, Inner Circle unlocked.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody that subscribed, became a member.
Go to the website. Now's your time after the credits, and then hit the after party at the very top of the main website, tbxunfiltered.com. Go register for the free stuff so I can do the drawing and start giving some stuff away. And then the person that won the mug already, that was from Major
Rammer Jammer, our awesome mod.
Just send me an email.
So Major Rammer Jammer, thank you so much for always being supportive of us and having our back and keeping our chat kind and support it. Hey, we don't mind talking about the fact that you disagree with something. We just want you to keep it respectful. So thank you for keeping our chat respectful. We really appreciate it.
Oh,
And thank you. Oh, that's how I found you. TBX was from Patriot. See?
yeah.
Thank you,
there's a bunch of
Shauna.
them.
Thank you, Patriot Pride. We're thankful to
We
Patriot.
know where we came from. We know who brought us to the
Aw,
dance.
Thank you so much.
Is that how you say
Yeah,
it?
they've been awesome to us and so supportive. We're so grateful. Some of our
Yeah.
biggest fans, if
I
we can
wish they
call
were
them
going to
that.
Tucson with us. We need
So
some backup.
that's true. We need some Georgia boys
Nobody get
with
any
us.
funny ideas. I'll be carrying.
No, there's not going to be any of that. We're from Texas for a long time. Lived on a ranch. So,
Yeah.
and this girl may look girly, but I've killed a copperhead with a hammer, and I've shot
See,
some.
I don't do that.
Yeah, well,
I don't kill snakes. I don't.
you don't
particularly
even
like
like
them, but,
doing bugs. So,
so,
but anyway, but yeah, we can both shoot. And sure. Anyway, thank you
you.
so much
Who's
for the
that
drop,
Nina?
Jules. We appreciate
Good
it.
to see.
So thanks, guys. Have a great Saturday evening. I can't thank you enough for choosing to join us and spend your Saturday nights with us. Us old fogies that don't have anything else.
Stay through the credits. And if you like the music in the credits tonight, it's Rammer Jammers music that
faithful
we use
servant.
on our show. And there's some funny stuff in the roll credit.
And the faithful servant joined us tonight too. They've got a great show with some AI work, but it is awesome because it's very informative. And your mascot is hilarious. I love him. The little Tex. He looks like a Texan
Hey, welcome,
cowboy.
Life with Mikey.
So thanks so much, guys.
Does that mean you're related to the serial kid? Okay, here we go.
It's Mikey. He likes it. You can tell we're Gen Xers.
God.
Sorry.
Oh, there he
Life
is.
with Mike. Thanks so much for subscribing. Thanks everybody for the subscribes,
Good
for
night,
the
baby bear.
memberships and the likes. We really
Good night,
appreciate
man.
it. Have a good night, everybody.
Way back off the county line where the sycamores lean and high, Jen and Glen keep a heart small flame in a shack with a weather sign. They know the names folks don't say when the beer goes cold and the room goes still. Thornbridge comes up in the dark, even bad men feel the chill. They hear that word and lose their grin. Thornbridge is coming to dig it in. The lies get thin, the nights run short. Every crooked deed heads for court. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, they know your trail. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, truth don't fail. Jen and Glen, bring the light in. Buffalo strong, you can't outrun it. There's a buffalo badge on the door, paint chipped on the solar bowl, like a warning to the wicked ones that the hills keep score. Old trucks roll by in the rain with their radios turned way down low, 'cause once the Thornbridge name gets spread, folks start letting secrets go. They hear that word and lose their grin. Thornbridge is coming to dig it in. The lies get thin, the nights run short. Every crooked deed heads for court. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, they know your trail. Thornbridge, Thornbridge, truth don't fail. Gin and Glen, bring the light in. Buffalo strong, you can't outrun it. Under moonlit oaks and red clay ground, the hidden things come shaking out. Every locked up drawer, every buried sin gets a little louder now. And when the holler calls her name, the brave turn pale, the liars shake. 'Cause Jen and Glen don't miss a step when the whole truth starts to break. Thornbridge,